Welcome to day 2 of the week. Tuesday is here and we're glad to welcome you aboard the AM show. From Bernice and I, we say a very good morning to you and we wish you a fantastic day. Now, as you've chosen to start the day with us, shortly I'll be serving you the news, followed by the news review with former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Aboagye. He'll be our guest. And that, of course, will be followed by sports, as always, with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Some of us have our doubts about all the gongs Messi has won, but he won his 8th Ballon d'Or. Some say not justified. Some say some of these gongs have not been deserving. But what is your take? Well, maybe in the course of the news review, you can share your thoughts with me. But then we get into the big stories, and today we put the spotlight on the upcoming presidential primaries of the governing Neo-Patriotic Party. 4 candidates are seeking to lead the NPP going into the 2024 elections. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Kennedy Ejapong, Francis Adainimo, and Owusu Efiri-Akoto. They are all gunning for that top spot. Today, we'll be in 2 of these camps, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's camp and Dr. Owusu Efiri-Akoto's camp. On the second beat of our show, our God is faithful and great. Well, that was intentional. We had to fit the 8 in there. Those are the words of PRESEC as they hoisted their 8th National Science and Math Quiz Trophy. And we'll be hearing from them on the show today. As always, we'd love you to have your say. Get interactive with us. Let us know what you think about everything we do here. And of course, share your thoughts with us in the course of the live stream. On that note, we settle for the news. Up next. Let's settle for the news now. And in our first story, when his quest to find a job in Ghana failed, Abiola Tohib Abiodun didn't allow that to weigh him down. He's been doing a lot of handiwork since he didn't become a burden on anyone. Hannah Odame narrates Abiola's story in today's series of hope.
I said charger, earpiece, cover, protector, assets, different kind of accessories.
Abiola Tohib Abiodun is a father of 3. He's been pushing this cart for over 5 years. He didn't start the business this way though.
I didn't know anything about the business. It was some of my friends that introduced me to the business. And I start with how much? I start with 100 cedi as at that time. I start with like small earpiece and charger. That time I used to carry around. But I thank God today that everything is my own, it's my business. So, and every day I go out, at least I'm making something out of it. So I have joy with what I'm doing.
An origin of Ibadan in the Oyo state of Nigeria, the Polytechnic graduate narrates why he migrated to Ghana.
Oh, I just came here to Ozu, at least as a man. The world has become a global village. If you are in somewhere and you don't have peace or you see how the situation of the place are going, you need to move as a man. That's why I came here.
When his quest to find a job as an aluminium fabricator in Ghana did not materialize, Abiola found selling phone accessories as the best option to survival.
My plan is that if I will apply for company to continue the aluminium work. So and as I came here, I applied for some company. So they didn't take me. So that's why I started this one.
Narrating his daily routine, Abiola was hopeful he will soon open his own shop.
Sometimes I close around 11:30 in the night. So and I go to the market maybe sometimes around 2:30. That's how I start. I can continue with this forever because this one is a business. For year 2, if I get shop, I'm planning to rent shop for Newtown. If I get shop, I will make it in a big way, and I'll start from there.
Guided by his philosophy of life, Abiola says he's not for once regretted any step that he's taken in ensuring his wife and children are well taken care of.
I'm not feel disappointment because as a man, you need to be growing every day. So as I start this one, I'm even happy that I get something that I'm doing here. So as I started from that, I never regret for one day, because I thank God that I started this one as at that time, and this business has helped me a lot. It helped me a lot as at that time. So gradually, now I get where they say, just sometimes I just move around small and I pack for them and sell. Till the evening time I go close.
And he does well to spend the money from his hustle with his family.
Because I make them happy. Sometimes if I close, I'm going out. I used to buy something for them. Sometimes we go to Aboagye Beach. Sometimes if I get money, sometimes we go to Bola Beach. Sometimes I take them to Medina for airport side. So sometimes we used to go out like that to go and enjoy ourselves.
Abiola believes self-determination should be embraced by the youth, most especially as they pursue their goals in life.
As a man or woman, you need to hustle for yourself. And the thing I see for it is that you need to believe in yourself, whatever you are doing. And you need to continue doing what you know to do more. Because the time I start, it's been tough. The time I start, it is very tough somehow. But I continue the struggle. Sometimes it will be there somehow, but I continue. But the thing I believe is that one day God will help me. But now He helped me because I thank God that I have something that I'm doing. If you come here, you can't just day street be roaming about. You need to find something to do as a man. Don't follow people, because the time I came here, I saw many people, they are doing another thing. But for my mind, I make my mind say, I won't put my hand for any bad thing. So I just face what I'm doing. So this is where I am today.
Abiola go back to settle in Nigeria.
The aluminium work is my handwork, while I learn. It's good, but this one too is a business. I still learn this one, because even if I leave this one, I go back, I can still start this business for Nigeria. So it's like I see another opportunity. If I don't want to do the aluminium work again, I have another thing that I believe I can still do.
Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Let's talk politics now. And the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the governing New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entwi-Buesiako, has announced that chiefs and chairmen from all constituencies in the Ashanti region have pledged their support for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He says these chiefs and chairmen have committed to covering all associated costs, including transportation and meals, for the delegates attending the Congress as a gesture of their support for him. Samuel Mbura of our political desk has more in this report.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia received a rousing welcome during his rally in his home region, Northeast region, where the crowd included chiefs, imams, and influential community leaders. In his address, Dr. Bawumia compared himself to a star striker of a World Cup winning team, emphasizing that the 2024 general elections require someone of his caliber to build on the MPP's achievements.
2024 election
The 2024 election is like a World Cup final between the NPP and NDC. When you are going for such competitions, you will need a striker that can score goals for the team. So if the NPP wants to break the 8, a striker like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is needed. Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi expressed unwavering support for Dr. Bawumia's candidacy, stating that all constituencies in the region are firmly behind him and promising a significant vote in the November Congress.
We have appetite. We have the appetite. We have more money. We have some love. We want to show some love to MPP. We want to show some love to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We want to show some love and send a signal to NDC. So Ashanti region, we are taking all the cost of the election of November 4th.
Deputy Majority Chief Whip Habib Idris and Hassan Tampoli, MP for Bushegu, confirmed that all northern MPs are endorsing the Vice President.
Just like Chairman is daring us, I want to assure you, Ashanti Regional Governor, that we in the north, and I'm talking about northern region, northeast region, Savannah region, upper east and upper west, we have taken up the bill for His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana.
Additionally, Northeast Regional Chairman of the MPP, Nuruddin Fuseni, assured a repeat of the 100% vote for Dr. Bawumia as seen in the Superdelegates Congress.
Northeast region, if there was to be 100+ % in election, Northeast region would have given the Vice President 100+ election. So we are ready for the 4th, and 4th is going to be a day of difference between all the regions. Since we are first, we will always be first.
Furthermore, some delegates in the Northeast region emphasized that their support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia transcends tribal lines.
Without the Vice President, we can't break the 8. Yeah, without him, we can't break the 8 because he has the political experience that the NDC knows that if we let him lead our party, they know that we'll break the 8 actually.
Yes, to me, he is the right person because looking at things, he is somebody who is known all over the country. He does his work diligently, he has the patience, he has the passion. He's somebody whom we can't even rely on.
Breaking the 8 is what the MPP is up to. We need somebody that is experienced. We need somebody that has a national character. We need somebody that is a unifier.
The flag bearer elections of the governing MPP has hit a home stretch. Expectations are that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will win the elections. However, the margin is not known yet. But a recent survey suggests that he is going to win over 80% on November 4. Reported from the high streets of Wale in the Northeast region, hometown of Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Samuel Mbura, Joy News.
Well, that was a sneak peek of what you can expect. And of course, we're bringing you all the details right before election on November the 4th. We're going to be bringing you all the scoop in our election headquarters. But on now to our next story. The managing director of the Lema Press, one of Ghana's leading printing presses, Zina Dasa, wants government to create an enabling environment for small businesses to thrive. According to him, government needs to make available funding and incentives to startups and existing businesses to cushion them to grow and also encourage industry players to invest more. He spoke when the National Chief Imam paid a courtesy call on the company.
That is not only Ghana government here. There's a big challenge in Africa in general. You will not see any specific policies which encourage various industries. You go to Burkina Faso, you go to Cote d'Ivoire, you go to Mali, they will read their budgets. You will not see any incentive for any industry which encourages players in the industry to invest more. That's one of the challenges we're facing. All we are interested is that we give incentive to those who come and invest in the industry. Let's say someone in Ghana who is coming to invest here. He comes here, government give you incentive. You can bring your raw material free, your equipment, everything is free. They have incentive, and the people already in the industry, there's nothing like incentive to them. Meaning that the old players are there, new players come with all the incentive. It makes competition unfair. Now, so that is one of the major problems. Unlike other countries, even when you reinvest part of your profit, you get incentives. The challenge here is that it's investment. We must invest, and then government should support in getting the fund for investment. You understand? It is very, very difficult. When you look at the economy where the currency is fluctuating and other stuff, there's no stability. It makes it very difficult to invest. And we need to have incentive. The more you employ, you have incentive. The more you reinvest into the business, you have incentive. The more you innovate through technology, you have incentive. These are things which are very, very important.
Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has educated students of the Tamale College of Education on its tariff regime and processes. Authorities also responded to issues bordering on service delivery, illegal connections, among others.
The aim of the forum was to help the students understand the tariff process and how they can contribute in reducing waste in consumption, among others. Speaking at the forum, the executive director of the PURC, Dr. Ishmael Aka, explained how the PURC arrives at its tariff decision.
The utilities, Water River Authority, the GRICO, NEMCO, and others. That over the next 3 years, how much do you need in terms of investment, operations, human capital, your staff, maintenance, even some loans you are going to take, the cost, how much do you need to perform all these functions? So they will put a proposal together and submit it to PURC. That this is how much we need, and we've broken it down to this. We have 5 employees, we pay them this, we have this number of things, we do all those things. Now when that is done, PURC checks, and there's a rule, we call it the useful and used concept. All the things you've listed, are you going to use all those things to satisfy the customer? So for instance, if NEPCO has a hospital and they put the pay of the nurses and doctors at that hospital in the proposal, we'll take them out. Because whether a doctor goes to work or not, does it affect the electricity you get?
The students asked questions ranging from meter acquisition to the payment of bills, service provision, and illegal connection.
In particular, worrying developments within the northern region, and it has to do with the service providers. I believe sometimes their emotions override their professionalism, in the sense that we've had instances where, for example, in Vitim, some individuals were engaged in illegal connection. So in instances like that, I believe from where I sit, if the service providers had that kind of encounter with them, they should deal with the specific individuals, but they shouldn't punish the entire community.
When a question was asked why service providers do not punish individuals who engage in illegal connection but the entire community, the Director, Regional Operations and Consumer Service, Alhaji Jabaru Abubakar, said sometimes it is for the safety for the people.
But what happened in Kogelmago was for them to have been out for a very long time was a directive from the PURC. And there was a reason for that. I want to take this opportunity to let us appreciate some of these concerns. Immediately there is interference in the network of the utility. Safety comes in. You as a user might just think that the fact that someone has done illegal connection, that is it. If they get that person off, that is it. They have to patrol the line. And in the case of Kogelmago, there was some sort of aggression between the parties. And NEPCO couldn't patrol the line. So if they don't patrol the line and they put in back power, there is likely that people who might lose their houses.
In our next story, the leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is encouraging its well-to-do members to reach out to the poor in the church. President of the South Central Ghana Conference, Pastor Dr. Samuel Impimensa, who made the appeal, said some of the church members who lived below the poverty line required the support of wealthy men in the church for survival. The appeal comes as a businessman and philanthropist, Isaac Owusu, single-handedly built a church for the local Homabenase Seventh-day Adventist Church. Ohiming Teria has more in the following report.
A giant, imposing and magnificent edifice on the outskirts of the Homabenase farming community welcomes visitors to the community. The benefactor, a businessman and native of Ofinso, says he was touched by the plight of the local Seventh-day Adventist Church. Isaac also says he was in the community in 2020 to worship with the local congregants, only to be told they could not use the local basic school for church activities. The district assembly ordered the closure of the school to all public activities, denying the congregation a place of worship. Mr. Wusu intervened with the construction of the new church. He has also registered over 2,000 residents onto the National Health Insurance Scheme, donated cloth and soap to over 1,000 members of the community, and promised to build a gari processing factory for the local cassava farmers. He has also promised to extend the gesture to yet-to-be-named community.
I have to thank God for giving us life. I think barely 3 years ago, I came to the church, that's Amabenase Church, and because of the COVID, they were not worshiping in the classroom again. So that day it rained, and when I came, there was no church. So in fact, that touched me, and I said, well, let me put out something for the entire community so that they can worship in. So by the grace of God, I think we have done this for them to worship in, and I think it's good. Well, we did National Health Insurance for 2,000 people, and then the old people here, we donated some clothes and then soaps for them. Now I'm planning of opening a small factory, that's Gary Factory. I've seen that the people here, they do farming. So the cassavas and those things, they'll bring it and then we process it to Gary. And then the MP, fortunately the MP too is a free HS minister. So they can supply the Gary to the ministry so that they also get something to ease their life and then it will help.
Education Minister and MP for Bosomtwe, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, who witnessed the commissioning of the church, is touched by the works of Mr. Isaac Wilson. According to him, the government recognizes such benevolence and private participation in national development.
I want to first thank God for making us see today. The second gratitude goes to Elder Isaac Owusu for allowing God to use him to bless others. He is the reason why we've all gathered here today. The government does recognize his generosity and benevolence. I am super excited today.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is encouraging its well-to-do members to reach out to the poor. Pastor Dr. Samuel Entry-Mensah is president of the South Central Ghana Conference.
We feel excited, and then we are so happy that by the grace of God, at this time, God in his own wisdom can touch one of us heart so that can come together and mobilize some resources to put up this gargantuan edifice. It is not something that normally happens in our church, in a sense that most of members have money, they have in abundance, but they have not been into that line, that going for putting up church building, for that matter, for others. And so we want to take this opportunity and thank our Elder Isaac Owusu and the family. We want to take this time to appeal to our members, those among us who God has blessed, that they should also be in a position to help our smaller churches.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohime Ntewia.
And that's how we cap off the news this morning. But stay with us. Up next, the news review. We'll be right back. Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for the news review. And guess who? Well, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afil Moni, is our guest. Right before I bring him into the fray, though, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment every morning. Now, here's what they are offering you. If you're a man, you've never checked out your prostate, or it's been a while since you did, or even you checked last year, like I did. How about this year? Do you know the state of your prostate? Do you know how healthy your prostate is? If it's enlarging, would you know? If you're a woman, you do not know whether any fibroids are developing as far as your reproductive system is concerned, and that could affect childbearing and many other things in future. It could even cost you your life. I've known someone who lost their life on the back of that, and even compromising your fertility. What do you know about your fertility status? And that's why we're offering you every morning Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They are offering free services when it comes to these two, prostate screening and fertility screening for women. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Krono Aboagye behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takra Dianaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. End Point Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And the start of the news review. Mr. Money, Aiko,
yeah.
Wezo.
You.
Thanks for making it on the show, and you're looking.
Huge pleasure.
You're looking fantastic.
This is a gift for my Arsenal addicted son, Nana Money.
Did you say Arsenal addicted?
Addicted, yes.
Oh, he's a fan of Arsenal.
Fan, yes.
The Gunners.
The Gunners, yes.
Is he watching?
Yes, he's watching.
He's watching?
Yes, he's watching.
Okay, so I'll reduce the mischief because what I wanted to say, they are doing well though. They are doing much better than my Manchester United.
Yeah,
right
Manchester
now,
is a disaster.
It's a deep. I don't know about Zanda, but it's terrible right now. But you see, my only problem with Arsenal is they are like an elephant. They'll climb atop the tree, all right. But you know the weight of an elephant.
Sure.
It is bound to.
There's some degree of consistency.
Oh, but they are getting something right with the youngsters.
Youngsters, exactly.
It's almost reminiscent of when Arsene Wenger was leading the team. The crop of young people he kept bringing. Yeah. And sometimes, even when they bought, they would buy a player at very little cost, but when they are moving the player out at a huge cost. So that's something they are getting right. If you look at Edin Ketia, I think he scored a hat-trick a few days ago. There's Bukayo Saka, and even those who may be somewhat senior, the Jesuses and others, they have quite a blend going on. Quite a team. Anyway, Nana, I'll leave you to enjoy your Arsenal, but as for winning the league, that one, I don't know. Anyway, so before we get into the papers, some interesting matters have happened. I don't know which one you would like to touch on, but in the midst of all of that, there's also the Ghana Journalists Awards.
Fantastic.
And Erastus Asare Donko emerging, the best when it came to illegal mining, and then the overall best journalist of the year. But what are your reflections? We were talking about it before it happened, starting in the day and all of that. What were your reflections on the day?
Media awards, specifically the media awards, are the pinnacle of the achievement in the media. Every journalist and every person has a sense of achievement. And the GJ Awards are the pinnacle of such achievement. And let me seize the opportunity to sprinkle a stardust of congratulations on all those who won awards on Sunday afternoon, which extended to late evening. And the star of the evening and the man of the moment is Erastus. And he is someone who gave up ownership of his life in the pursuit of truth relative to the environmental plunder of gigantic proportions in our forests. And he, in doing his documentaries, he signalized himself as not only a professional gem, but as someone who exemplifies the motto of this station, multimedia, fearless and independent, incredible journalism. So Erastus is a symbol of fearlessness. His fearless streak is what
he's literally risked his life in some instances to go to some of the mining sites. And at a point on the back of threats and all of that he was receiving from people in establishments. You're on a site doing certain things and you get a call, hey, this and that. He shared all of those with us. And his pain is the fact that he mentioned, I think he had been doing this, it's been 9 years now.
9 years.
9 years. The question is, on the back of these 9 years of exposing the rot, of exposing illegal mining, of exposing how some of the powers that be have their hands and feet mired in illegal mining, why is there no action?
This is the question.
That's our pain.
It's our pain. It's our pain.
Because we don't do these documentaries for fun. we do them so that
surely
action will be taken. But it appears nothing is happening.
So this dampen our spirit. We should continue pushing, untangling, and exposing the rots in certain places, holding the feet of public office holders to the fire of accountability. This is what we have decided to do in contribution to our national progress in all dimensions. And Erastus, apart from his fearless streak, he's also somebody who exemplifies distinctively distinct journalism. Yeah, and in choosing the journalist of the year, the panel does not only look at one piece of work. It should be consistent. So your work in general should ignite pride in the entire profession. So congratulations to the man of the moment.
And not just him, of course, we had 8 winners.
Exactly, 8.
On the day. Among them, Radio Program of the Year, News File, our very own Emma Davies also getting the gong for business and economics reporting, Ms. Enchil, among others, a plethora of winners in there. And this is also an opportunity to salute all of those under this umbrella who made us proud. That's what we do here, like you said. Independent, fearless, credible. And we'll keep doing that. We have Emmanuel Ampoma coming through with this. Hello, good morning, and good morning to you too. Dondo Sombare says, good morning, I'm doing my monitoring from Wabuha. Loud and clear there, bro. Well, it's good to hear that we're loud and clear in Wa. I hope Wa is cool this morning. I don't know whether it's rained there as well. But right before we get into the papers, brief one. My attention was just drawn. I saw this on Joy News on Facebook. You can get a lot of information from there. In recent times, I've had to give him some flack. I'm talking about the managing director of the ECG. And he's had interviews with us, and he says there's no Dumso. Even yesterday, I had Dumso. Even yesterday. Well, Charlie, try and monitor some small NSMQ no fuel. I don't know whether they were asking me to solve the problem of the day with the power outage, because I couldn't solve that problem. Have you experienced power outage? Yesterday, by the way, by the time I got home and the lights went off, I was told that was about the 5th time in a day the light had gone off. And subsequently, while I was home, it kept going on and off for about 4 times till it just remained. And what are you doing to people's equipment?
Maybe they didn't have the right briefing, and I believe he can't be everywhere, so his men should brief him on challenges consumers of power face in all parts of the country.
But I just wanted to find out, have you experienced that lately? Power outage?
Yesterday we spared the Domso, and it's a regular occurrence in our Andenta Commandos area. But yesterday we had a regular power supply.
Fortunate to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the papers now. Lots to discuss. The Daily Graphic, Presec Legon wins 8th National Science and Math Quiz. And congratulations to the Odadiers. You've done yourselves proud. Someone this morning was accosting me, and I told the person that NSMQ is not life. But it's a great achievement. And I think slowly Presec is becoming the Real Madrid of the National Science and Math Quiz. And this is an amazing feat. I've been told of the sort of things they do right when the students come in to ensure that they pick the finest of the crop, the creme de la creme, to represent them. And they've proved their mettle one more time. So you cannot but give credit where it is due. And we salute the Odadier family for this great feat. If you are a student of Presec, an old student of Presec, I think you ought to be proud. But here's where I'll leave it off and add. With all this science and math knowledge, how are these students, how are the cream of the crop able to make that actualize our dreams as Ghanaians in technology, in the sciences, in STEM, basically? Those are the things we should say, oh, this person competed for this school back then, and look at him now. He is innovating. He has created this thing. He has done that thing. Without that, my thinking. But what's yours?
I have 2 sons, and in fact, I'm a father of twins. And
oh,
yeah, and my twins attended pre-sec the other year.
Right.
And yesterday, Payne told me that apart from putting extra hard work to excel, they also invest in prayer. So right. Yeah, so their preparation, it is backed by tenacious prayers. And this crystallizes into their excellence at quiz competitions. So maybe these others can take a cue from pre-sec, and
but yesterday they were all praying.
Yes, they were.
Achimota was praying, Owas was praying, they were praying the rosary. Owas was, so they were all in that mood. But I saw someone post something that God can listen to only one school's prayers, and I was laughing, but only one will emerge.
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Even when there's a tiebreaker will be brought in, someone must win and someone must play second.
And we must commend multimedia for hyping this competition.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
if it has to do with stuff like that, education, you can trust us.
Yes. Yes.
And now we see others trying to copy. No problem. You can copy a little, but we are in a comfortable league. We are far ahead doing what we do. So once more, congratulations to Legon Presec. We have to specify because there are many Presecs.
Yeah, Legon Presec.
So Legon Presec. And interesting story there. So Selinam Kofi Morte, he is one of the contestants for Presec. And his brother contested in 2019 for Presec. So you see that it's been a bit of a family affair for them. And they should be proud. Mrs. Morty should be proud. Other stories. Stop capping Get Fund. Dr. Abe says so. In recent times, he's gone hard against the Get Fund. VRA ends spillage. $450 million manganese refinery set for Nsuta Ayo. I keep saying we hear all of these figures and we're doing this and lithium and that, and then they'll tell you now we are signing deals that are better. What's the percentage? And you see, we do all of these things and what comes back to us. But I'll get into the story rather than just talk about it. Trading Inspectors Commission to enforce standards and media role should go beyond rhetoric, EC chairperson. I listened to her at the GJA Awards and I was smiling, but I'll reserve my comments. There are a number of things I could say to her as well, but I'll reserve my comments on that and watch as she also does her work and see how diligently she does her work. Because basically, ahead of election 2024, I think the peace of our country, to some extent, lies in her bosom. And depending on what she does...
Very large extent. Very large extent.
Anyway, so let's get into like 2 or so stories, and then you can reflect on any of these.
Oh, okay.
A mining firm has firmed up a decision to construct the country's first bauxite refinery at Nsuta in the Western region. Ghana Manganese Company Limited is undertaking the $450 million project in collaboration with its majority shareholder, Tanyun Manganese Industry Group, a Chinese company. Already, feasibility studies have been completed, paving the way for the first phase of the refinery project to commence before the end of the year. The vice president of TMI, Shu Li-bing, who disclosed this, said the greenfield project was expected to be completed and operationalized within 12 months. I hope 12 months will be 12 months and will not do the same thing we've been doing with other projects. And I hope, too, that what we are hoping to gain from this will not start massaging. Look at our oil. Some of the places the oil revenue should go, they are not going there. Sure. And we're expending them on other things. We can't simply follow rules in this country.
So this underlines the need for the media to sharpen our focus in that area, making sure that the politicians match their words with action.
That's another story. That's one. It's another story. Let's get to page 13 now. Stop capping Get Fund. And the government has been urged to end the capping of the Ghana Education Trust Fund to enable it to provide the urgently needed school infrastructure to accommodate the large number of students in the country. The executive director of Ignite Media, Dr. Randy Abe, who made a strong case for a review of the Ghana Education Trust Fund Act 2000, that is Act 581, at the 92nd speech and prize-giving day of Accra Academy School in Accra at the weekend, challenged the government to review the earmarked funds capping and realignment Act 2017, that is Act 947, to stop the diversion of funds accrued for other uses and fully restore the ability of Get Fund to provide infrastructure in schools at an accelerated rate. Again, Another instance where a broke government always wants to dip its hands into coffers where it shouldn't be dipping its hands and diverting resources to do things for which, so there's a get fund levy.
Yeah.
You go and make certain purchases, I pay the levy, expecting that it will go into the students' infrastructure and aiding students, scholarships and all of that. Even the scholarships, look at what has happened over the years. People in power who have all the largesse still going to Harvard and the rest, and it is that fund supporting them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this?
Lack of monitoring on the part of media too can cause such breaches to fester.
Well, we've exposed these. We've spoken about them. Now the scholarship secretariat says some of these things have been streamlined and all of that, but we still know some of the things that go on. There are people there, you need 70,000 Ghana cedis or whatever, and they will. I mean, we've known these stories and we keep hearing them. The Goroism and all of that, who allows it? Who allows it? VRA has ended its spillage. It's embarking on some fumigation exercises. And just to wrap with the daily graphic so you can come in with other stories, let me go to where the Electoral Commissioner is speaking, Madam Jean Mensah. When she became Electoral Commissioner, I was the first person who interviewed her.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. My morning radio days, the very first person she granted a media interview. Anyway, media roles should go beyond rhetoric, EC chairperson. Now, the chairperson, Jean Mensah, has said the media's role towards ensuring peace and security in the 2024 election must go beyond mere rhetoric to practice responsible journalism. She has therefore charged media professionals to take up their role as custodians of truth by combating misinformation and disinformation to help consolidate the country's democratic credentials. She says, therefore, your commitment to ensure the peace and security of our country as we go to the polls in 2024 should go beyond mere rhetoric to practicing responsible journalism. The lessons of Rwanda are evident for all to see. We are all aware of how the unchecked power of the media contributed to a devastating genocide. Disinformation and falsehood turned friends and neighbors into enemies and culminated in a dark chapter of human history. I'll end it here, but Madam Chairperson, respectfully, some of the actions, too, of some people could lead to that degeneration. And you are in pole position. So do what's right by the people and ensure that we have free, fair, sustainable elections. We'll play our part. You play yours. That's it. Any quick reflections?
Just to beef up the statement by Madam G. Mensah, the Daily Guide is quoting her as saying that the EC is not above criticism. She ever said institutions like the media.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah.
So that they too are not above
criticism.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, sometimes they have sounded like that, as though they were immune to criticism. I don't know what your take is, but there are certain times listening to them, listening to the Bosman Asaris, my own former lecturer, good friend, Dr. Srebo Kweku, among others, you get the impression as though they felt they were in this ivory tower and they couldn't be touched. We saw that recently in all the talk about the district level, registrations and all of that. I don't know what you're thinking.
Sometimes they over-assert their independence. And this comes across as an institution which is immune to criticism. Criticism, as I said, is a gift. And we always ought to bear in mind, keep at the lodge at the back of our memory, that perfection is an impossible goal with every institution, every human institution. So, it's your interest if people point out your imperfections, so as to help you to shape up in response to the expectations of the public.
While saying that, though, we must add that there are two types of criticism: constructive and destructive. And indeed, sometimes the criticism is not constructive. You can give them that. Sometimes it is below the bar. But there's also criticism that sometimes feeds right into the fray, because when these CSOs and others speak, when people in the media speak, we're speaking so that things will be done, so that we don't end up, she was citing Rwanda, so we don't end up in the mire or in the mud. That's basically it. Finally, Kenya to scrap visas for African visitors by year end, and Nigeria is doomed. Atiku responds to court ruling. You know, the court has ruled on that matter, and Atiku says Nigeria is doomed. That's what he says.
And the court cited the law. We said they failed to present their case within a certain time frame, and regarding Tinubu's certificate.
Well, let's check out other papers.
The MPP primaries, the back and forth, the trade in accusations.
That's the Daily Guide news.
The Daily Guide is leading with the rebuttal by Bawumia camp that they offered Kenya Japan $800 million to step down.
$800 million?
$800 million to step down. And according to Ken, the offer was made for him to step down. And so the Bawumia camp has come to rebut that accusation, describing it as outlandish.
But wait, if, and these are things that, of course, ought to be checked out, because this is not the first time that Kennedy Japong is saying something like this. But you also ask yourself, on the back of finding huge sums of money in the houses of what you see. If you know you are holding cash in your house, that one, wala o wala. Me, I don't have FOCO in my house, so if you come and search, you will not find anything. The little I have, I keep in the bank, which is what procedure we are all supposed to be following. But on the back of those huge stashes of cash that we've seen in people's houses, and some reports about other people in power also having say, you ask yourself, if this were to be true, would this be totally impossible? And then it would also make you wonder, we're getting how much from the IMF? 3 billion.
Yeah, 3 billion.
Maybe we don't need that money after all. Maybe our politicians or some people could have coughed up that money.
Exactly, yes. Because this practice of keeping large sums of money in homes is not new. And this is akin to our politics, because at the moment you deposit large sums of money in a bank, that will arouse a lot of suspicions, and the media can pick it up.
It's all about, how did you get this money? That is what people are afraid of. So how did you get the money?
Yeah, so avoid this question. You know, you had it somewhere and releasing, and we saw it with Obeda Samoa on the NDC. Yeah, Obeda Samoa was keeping lots of money under his bed, and it came out that some people were also feeding fat on that money. And that's so. This is something.
It's been a ritual.
Yeah, it's a ritual. It's a ritual. So none of the parties is whiter than white, pure and pure when it comes to such practice.
We've seen those who have kept money in their car boots and all kinds of things.
Yes. There are ceilings, and I hear some have underground compartments.
So I hear some keep them in water tanks. So some of the water tanks are not filled.
Yeah, enough of water, but for money.
Why is someone shivering? We just said water tanks. What's your problem? Okay, so there's that story.
Yeah,
and the Bawumia camp is saying they don't know anything about it.
They don't know what it said. Okay. And so the rest of them happened on Saturday, and it's as clear as nights follow the day that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia will emerge the flag bearer. This is not the final step to his presidency, and let's see what happens on 7th of December 2024.
Time will tell. Other stories?
Other story, we have OSP clearing Edubai of Anas's corruption.
And they closed that case.
Yeah, they closed that case. No, they said they can revisit the case.
Yes, but for now.
For now. And when time demands. And the explanation they offered was that influence peddling is not an offense under a criminal statute. And even though they found him guilty of influence peddling, but our laws have no provision to prosecute him. So OSP is calling for the enactment of laws, relevant laws, which make influence peddling an offense.
But even without criminal proceedings against him, and like we've said, it could be something that in future comes up, the damage this does to you in terms of the work you do, it's like the former PPA boss, procurement. You are gone.
You are gone.
What's his name? Kwesi Nyantechi, football.
Gone.
You are gone.
Yeah.
Charles Edubuahin now, even if he's cleared in this, in terms of the work he does, that's what happens, which is why all of us ought to be careful.
All of us, especially the public office holders. The Ghanaian Times has banned the statement by His Excellency the President that West Africa countries should come together to fight terrorism. And
recently we received over 100 vehicles from the EU.
I
think seized. They were heading to Libya or something. And they've been given to us to counter terrorism.
And all that.
We are not dealing with the conflagrations in Boku, in other parts of the country. And even Garu, what we saw recently, they were shooting the national security officers. They followed them to the police station, and per the reports, they were shooting into the police station with a mind to kill. Of course, the reaction was also not good. The sort of beatings. This was inhuman. This was, the lashing. This was not even lashing. This was like flaying people. It was totally out of order. But we have a serious threat on our hands, and we act as though we didn't, because that's how insurgency creeps in. And look at our porous borders.
The ease with which people embrace violence in this country. And I think we need to address it. And it's a cancer to a national peace. And we are dropping on a peace index in Africa.
We've been dropping for a long time.
Yeah, so we should watch it and apply the brakes so that we secure this country for the present and future generations. So back to another story. He's underscored the crucial need for West African countries to collaborate in dealing with the raging menace of terrorism. So no country is free as far as terrorism is concerned. So it's an interest of all West African countries to come together, pull in one direction, synergize the effort to ensure that we contain the threat of violence. And the Daily Break.
So Daybreak newspaper.
The Daybreak newspaper. Also leading with Team Bawumia disputing Ken's allegation that as much as $800 million was offered to Ken to step down. Lotto operators are saying no to 300 million cedi to National Lottery Authority and all that. And Parliament is resuming sitting today. I believe they have a lot on the table, and we expect our MPs, to hurry up and do justice to the professional metal. And people expect them to justify the election to Parliament. And there are so many issues which are competing for national attention.
Undercurrents.
In the currents. And we also expect the budget to be read in the course of this sitting. And expectations are that businesses will be spared the
further taxes and some
taxes.
In fact, the Economy Times repeats that 2023 budget, major stakeholders want tax reforms. But before I get into that, there's a story right there. I want you to briefly take it. Tanzanian students taken hostage by Hamas in Gaza named. Now we know their names. Who are they?
We are told that 2 Tanzanian students have been taken hostage by Hamas in Gaza. And the names are Joshua Loitu Molel and Clemens Phyllis Intanga. They were in Israel as part of an agricultural internship program. And this is so sad.
Israel is one of those countries that many countries, even Ghana, look up to in terms of agri-tech and other things. So they were there, trying to acquire knowledge, and unfortunately this
we pray that
we pray they get
the security.
Just to wrap the conversation, the Finder newspaper, I'm deeply honored Erastus Asare Donko pictured here with his awards, and you can check out the story on page 8. The others are stories we've seen, apart from Dr. Ifriya Akoto cautions against manipulation and favoritism ahead of November the 4th. The back page of the Daily Graphic, I forgot to do this. Engineers and planners begins dredging in Mepe and Aveyime. And just to wrap up with Economy Times, 2023 budget, major stakeholders want tax reforms. Major players within the Ghanaian economy are calling for several tax reforms to help keep the private sector active to contribute progressively to the economic expansion and job creation. I'm talking about GUTA. They are talking about the COVID-19 levy, the special import levy in the yet to be read 2024 budget. And Ghana to end 2023 with 99% debt to GDP ratio. That's according to Fitch. 99% debt to GDP ratio.
Allow me.
That's it. Maybe Adrian, no. Ibrahim Biligo says, great job, Joy News. Well, thank you for watching. Any final thoughts as we go?
Once again, let me take the opportunity to sprinkle stardust of commendation on Erastus. He's made us proud, and it pays to do this job for journalism. According to Gabriel Marquez, is the best profession in the world. So Erastus, even though it doesn't pay, and we are now the source of the whole nation for your excellence. Continue to do a good job and be an example of distinctively distilled journalism.
Thank you so much. I feel money. You said something. It doesn't pay. Forgotten country. I feel money is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. As we veer into sports, of course, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening as well. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Up next, we serve you sports. Do say.
Good morning. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And later today, the Black Queens of Ghana will come up against Benin in the second round of the Olympic qualifier, which will be played at the Accra Sports Stadium. Nora Hopter's girls are currently having the advantage over Benin, having won the first leg 3-0 in Cotonou, Benin. And the opportunity presents to Ghana to be able to secure a ticket to the next phase of the qualifiers. And head coach Nora Hopter insists that she's not going to be complacent with this tie against Benin later today. My colleague Lawrence Beidou was at the Accra Sports Stadium and comes through with this report.
The Black Queens are one step away from booking a place in the third round of qualifiers for the 2024 Olympic Games to be staged in Paris. The Black Queens command a 3-0 first leg advantage, having beaten Benin in Cotonou. The Black Queens held their final training session at the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday, with 22 players completing the session. Priscilla Adubia seems to be the only player out after nursing an injury.
They always for results. We are in a qualification, and it's a second leg, and so of course we will drive to win this game. It's the second round of the Olympic qualifiers, and it's our objective to pass through to the third round in February. So we take this game with the full seriousness, focus, and we analyzed very well the game, the first game. So we also set our training tactic-wise to find again a bit better solutions, and yes, we will show the answer tomorrow on the pitch.
Despite 3-goal deficits, Benin are confident of ending the Black Queens' unbeaten record in Accra.
Okay, so yes, of course, football is played in 90 minutes, like I say,
we lost in Benin, we can still win here because the game is going to be played 11 versus 11. Yes, we respect Ghana so much. Ghana is a big country. Ghana is a big football nation. With all due respect for Ghana, but anything can happen tomorrow, and no team is unbeaten. Yes, of course, Ghana is having 8 matches unbeaten, but the match of tomorrow will decide.
Advancing to the next stage of the qualifiers will mean the Black Queens will face one of Africa's heavyweights in Zambia. However, before the third round fixture will be an African Cup of Nations qualifier against Namibia next month. The Black Queens are yet to lose a game under Nora Haptel since taking over in January. Reporting for Joy Sports from the Accra Sports Stadium, Lawrence Beidu.
And now let's talk Mediama SC. They are poised to play their CAF Champions League games at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Has hit rocks following CAF's decision to deny them an opportunity of hosting their matches at the venue. Let's take a look at the pictures of the Cape Coast Sports Stadium and why CAF says that this facility does not meet the requirements to be able to host CAF competitions, and the suggestions the Confederation of African Football has sent to the Ghana Football Association and expects that it is forwarded to the government of Ghana, especially the National Sports Authority, is that there should be complete renovation of the facility and complete regrassing of the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Per a statement that was said, or a letter that was sent to the Ghana Football Association, CAF said that it does not meet the modern standards of facilities required to host major competitions under the umbrella of CAF, and they have asked Ghana to close down the facility until renovation is completed. They noted some areas, especially the substitute benches, where they said that it does not meet the requirements. They also said that the referees' room, also the dressing rooms of the players, as well as the rooms for ball boys. They say that all these areas do not meet the requirements for modern standards when it comes to football facilities that are able to organize or host major competitions under the umbrella of CAF. So Mediama SC will have to look for an alternative. The current approved venue to be able to host the CAF Champions League matches is the Bawumia Sports Stadium. And even the Bawumia Sports Stadium, it also needs to go through some renovation processes before it's able to host FIFA categorized matches. So there's a possibility that Ghana, seeking to host World Cup qualifiers at the Bawumia Sports Stadium, might not happen because the facilities, none is fit for purpose to be able to host CAF and FIFA competitions. Now we go to Kumasi, where our sister station Ishura FM organized a community gala, and Stephen Zando has the rest of the story.
The Ishura FM Community Gala attracted some notable players on the local football scene, including Elvis Chebafo, formerly of Liberty Professionals, Aboagye of Ashanti Good Sporting Club, and Dixon Afuakwa, who played for Asante Kotoko recently. The competition, which attracted former Accra to Folk head coach Samuel Brody, was patronized by a lot of football-loving fans who thronged the various venues to watch the games. With battle of supremacy at stake, Aboagye, Bantama, Fantini Town, Dechamso, Asokwa, Atonsu, Amakum, Adum, and Abrepo marshaled their teams to compete for the ultimate prize. In the end, Atonsi community defeated Fantini Town by 2-0 in the final to lift the trophy at Bantama Kokwasi AstroTurf.
So it's been 2 weeks of exciting football in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, after Insura 104.5 FM under the Multimedia Group Limited successfully organized the 2023 edition of the Insura FM Community Gala. For the first time in the history of the competition, several communities hosted this particular competition because Insura FM wanted to take the games to the various communities. I have with me here head of sports of Insura 104.5 FM. His name is Besmak Ousu Bempa Ayala. I need to quickly interact with him and get to know him exactly how he was able to handle this particular one. Ayala, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
So how would you describe this successful organization of the Insura FM Community Gala?
I think it has been incredible. The mission was to on-air talent, and you know, when it comes to football, Kumasi is the home of Ghana football. We've seen wonderful talents, and we've seen Kumasi supporters react to the organization of this tournament very, very well. What we plan to do is to make it a ritual. Annually, we are going to organize this for the communities. It's part of our drive to also get in touch with our communities who listen to us on radio, and we will help them identify the talents within their communities.
Head of events at Insure FM, Eric Inkum, expressed his appreciation to all the partners that came on board to make the event a success.
We had amazing sponsors coming on board to ensure that this competition becomes a success. Talk of Django Energy Drink, TVS Motors, Trade Wings, and a whole lot.
The winning team from Atonsu received a cash prize of 20,000 Ghana cedis, medals, and a beautiful trophy. Isaac Entry is marketing manager at Insure FM.
These communities, from training to all the things they do to make this happen, you know, they put in a lot. So, I mean, together with our sponsors, we just had to make sure that we also satisfy them. So, I mean, it was on a good note that we thought that, look, let it happen. 20,000, you know, to the first winner. And TVS, one of our major sponsors, pulled a surprise by getting us a moto, you know, for the eventual winner. And they are so much excited.
According to Benjamin Fifi Okran, programs director at Insure FM, listeners of the station yearned for the games, hence the experience of the community gala. He says more should be expected in the years ahead.
Doing what we call the exponent, understanding what your audiences want. It's about sports. If you look at the region, Kumasi or Ashanti region is a place where sports or football or soccer is a place where people really enjoy it so much.
Apetogbo Foster, popularly known as Phil Foden, emerged the best player of the tournament. He says his football prowess has been impacted by former Black Stars assistant coach Maxwell Kunadu.
Yeah, he has helped me a lot. When I was a kid, he raised me. He taught me the basics in football, and he raised me, so I was very happy.
The Atonsu team was led by football manager and agent Abraham Afuakwa. He is calling on coaches in Ghana to patronize community football.
This is what I do. This is part of what I do. I manage players, I scout for players, and I try to find them opportunity. You saw the players yourself. They are very good players. One thing I'll plead with coaches in Ghana, that should patronize this kind of games just to motivate the boys to also play above themselves.
For their coming second, Fantinuta received medals and a cash prize of 5,000 Ghana cedis. Bantima defeated Aboagye by 3-0 in the third place game. They were given 2,000 Ghana cedis while Aboagye got 1,000 Ghana cedis. Stephen Zando for Joy Sports.
And now we talk boxing. In the 1990s, I Korte, who was under the management of veteran boxing manager and promoter Yofi Boham, decided to move from his management to Ringcraft. And when he made a move, he won a world title. But a month later, the other boxer who was still under the management of Yofi Boham, which is Alfred Korte, the late Alfred Korte, also won a world title. But Yofi Boham believes that Korte would have had a much better boxing career if he stayed with him at his management.
Disappointed, and my spouse at that time took all the papers heading towards the court to restrain Korte from fighting. Now the manager in US, Fred Berg, the late Fred Berg, meanwhile also took up the matter in US. And anytime that Ike was fighting, Fred will issue summons. He was a Jew.
Did you have a contract with Korte?
Oh yes!
And it was going for how many years?
Initially it's always for 4 years.
For 4 years?
Either 3 or 4 in those days.
In those days?
Yes.
And it means that he breached the contract?
Oh yes. Yes.
So why he breached the contract? Did he compensate you?
Oh, no. I didn't receive even a penny. Yes. I didn't receive even a penny. And it wasn't a breach which was just smoothly done. It was rough. You know, it was something which was really... I took the boys to the UK for Alfred's Commonwealth Championship fight. Straight away, Korte came to tell me that, and that was my mistake, that a friend of mine, Aboagye Hearts, has...
Aboagye Hearts, family of Hasafo?
Oh, yes. Aboagye Hearts has gracefully told him that he will fund his ticket to London so he will go along. I said okay, because Aboagye Hearts had been my friend for many years. When he was a ball boy and all that, he was my friend during those days. And so I agreed, and that was my downfall.
That's how he was lured away from you?
Yes.
So how did you resolve the issue with I-Court?
No, my wife had wanted to to go to court, but then Rollins had stepped in. Our late J.J. Rollins, he was a boxing man.
Yeah.
He had stepped in, and the following morning, his message was given me, trying to invite me to the castle for me to forget about everything, because we are in a small enclave. Ghana is not like US. This man will be in a state somewhere, and you can live for 10 years, you don't meet anyone. So that message came to me, and I had to leave everything to sleep.
He left everything to sleep. I can imagine the pain.
Well, yes, the pain was there, but the boy realized it.
Have you forgiven him now?
Oh, he knows. Forgiving him, and if he had stayed with me, he would have been very, very prosperous.
Do you think he would have been a much better boxer and be successful in his career if he stayed with you?
Yes, yes. Not as it was today.
But when he left you, within some few months, he won a world title.
Yes, and within a month between the time he won his world title and Africoti's world title was 1 month.
So were you pained that he could have won that world title under your management?
Yeah, if he had stayed and had not left, he would have traveled with Africoti. And between the two, each was an inspiration to the other.
Yofi Boham there speaking on a Prime Take, which was the latest edition. The next edition is a conversation with another boxing trainer, and he's also been speaking about his life journey and boxers he's been able to groom in his 26, 27 years in the field of boxing. Yeah, this is our wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. We appreciate your time.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation here on the AM show. And we start with our big stories with a focus on what we're expecting, anticipating ahead of November the 4th. Of course, your election headquarters. We'll be bringing you the scoop between now and that day with every teeny-weeny bit of detail. How will the presidential primary of the MPP pan out? And those who are contesting, the big four, if you like, who remain. How will the voting patterns be shaped on D-Day? Well, we've got some surveys that have come out, one leaning in that direction, the other leaning in a certain extreme direction. But we'll be finding out what exactly these two camps, and of the four, we're focusing on two of the camps this morning, the Bawumia camp and the Dr. Akoto, the Dr. Bawumia camp and the Dr. Akoto camp. Well, joining us in the studio, later we'll hear from the Efri Akoto camp. Joining us in the studio, Dennis Miracles Aboagye. He is member of Dr. Bawumia's campaign team. Good morning.
Morning. How are we doing?
We're well.
Great.
Under the circumstances.
It is well.
It is well, eh?
Definitely. Why not?
Okay. All right. So, Miracles, I hope you're bringing Miracles into the studio today, because I'm sure we need some of those miracles in our economic life, in many facets of our national lives. But let's start with the Bawumia campaign. Why Bawumia for you?
Well, first of all, as a member of the New Patriotic Party, the preoccupation of the party is to win every election. That's our job. That's why we exist.
Of any party?
Yes, of any party.
Of any political party.
And so at all times, when you have an election coming up, you would want to base your decision on what would enhance your chances of winning the elections. And in our party today, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia presents us with the brightest chance in winning the 2024 elections. So that's the first point. As a Ghanaian, I believe that based on precedents and what we've experienced in the past, we need a leader going into the future, a leader that has the capacity to protect our gains, and then one that exudes hope and gives assurance that what is left to be done would be done. And I see that in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as well. So those are the two reasons why I am very convinced that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the right person for us.
All right, so it's interesting how you've painted the picture. You say he stands the highest chance of, getting your party, securing electoral fortunes for your party. And then you talk about protecting gains as well. But some also say that Dr. Bawumia comes with the greatest baggage of all the four. And they would cite the likes of Kennedy Ejapong and say, look, while he may have his own demons, so to speak, in terms of leadership, he's been a member of parliament, that's it. He's never been in cabinet, he's never, been in any pole position in this country. And so you can cut him some slack. But the flack belongs to Dr. Bawumia because he was given to us as the economic wastegate. You remember the lectures? I remember one of them. Town was chock-a-block because people were coming to the National Theatre to come and listen to the person who had all the solutions to our problems, economically speaking. In fact, I remember Akufo-Addo, making mention of the fact that if you ask Nyansa, economics Nyansa, they are shit Dr. Bawumia too. But look at where we are. Look at where inflation is. Now we're even struggling to get inflation, tame inflation to the 30s in terms of percentage by close of year. In terms of the exchange rate, the pound has hovered around 15 plus, the dollar around 11 plus. Some would say it's still much lower than the 16 the dollar hit. But what has that done for business? Then you look at taxes upon taxes. The vice president, before he came in, he said we'd move from taxation to production. Now we still have COVID-19 levy on our books. If you read Economy Times, Guta and others are saying, look, as you prepare the 2024 budget, we want to see some tax reforms, among others. How do you respond to all of this baggage?
Well, first of all, every industry has its own rules and dynamics. And in politics, there's no politician without baggage. Every politician, you have your own swords, you have your strength, weaknesses, there are threats as well. What you do is to weigh them and see how it balances out in your favor. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, comparatively, has less baggage than our competitors.
Than whom?
Our competitors.
Dr. Efri Akoto?
No, than John Mahama.
Francis Adainimo?
Than John Mahama.
How so?
He's our competitor. He has been president. Dr. Bawumia has never been president.
Wait. No, let's relax. Let's slow down.
I listen to
vice president.
He has not been president. I'm choosing my context.
He's been vice president.
I am choosing my context. You can choose yours. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has not been president. He's vying to be president. Being a president is not the same as being a vice president. You can rate him as vice president. You can compare him as vice president. But you cannot try or attempt or pretend to try and compare a vice president to a president. They are not the same. Now, back to my point I was making. Once we are going into the election, what you are going to do is to run a SWOT of all those who are going to run the elections. And then you weigh. You are going to put the records on a weighing scale. Definitely, there are challenges. There is no leader that has a completely foolproof leadership without challenges. But the biggest difference between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and any other person that is vying to be president in this country is that he is a leader that sincerely acknowledges and embraces the challenges and then finds ways and means to mobilize the people, providing clear pathway in getting us out of the challenges. Recently, in 2022, we had an abnormal experience with our economy. I mean, as of January last year, dollar was hovering around 5.6%, 5.6 it is thereabouts. And then between January and November, it went all the way to close to 17. Completely abnormal. It's unusual. It doesn't happen. So something might have happened.
What caused that abnormality?
Of course, it is the Russian-Ukraine war. It's a fact. And the fact,
Ukraine war.
Yes, it's a fact.
Have you considered what other countries have experienced, even here in Africa, in terms of the losses their currency? Do you realize what you're saying?
Yes,
At a point in time, our currency was the worst.
It doesn't matter. If you let me explain, I'll tell you.
So if you're, I'm not even going to compare us to countries of the West or anything. That would be an unfair comparison. Right here in Africa, other countries were facing the same perils that we were facing. They didn't get to the point
the structures aren't the same. And I'll explain to you. Which countries are you comparing us to? Give me one country. Let me run the analysis for you. Kenya.
Yes.
So let me tell you something. So let me tell you something. Today, all the challenges we're experiencing, Kenya is experiencing same. Maybe
at what level?
It doesn't matter.
At what level?
The structures.
No, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Do you remember when the vice president? Hold on. Do you remember when the vice president?
Would you let me?
I will let you land. You've raised the point.
No, but let me
elaborate. Let me also. Let me
finish.
Do you remember when the vice president spoke about the fact that in former times we couldn't have certain things flying over all countries and hitting Ghana alone? I could paint.
Let me go back and explain to you the basis, because you don't let me explain that. There's no.
Go ahead.
The chair you are seated on. Okay, when we're coming to office, we indicate clearly that the structure of the economy is challenging, and that this is an economy that is highly dependent on imports. And so we have to restructure the economy by moving us towards industrialization, production. Now, that is a process that is ongoing, is an act in progress. And so you'd realize that today, government has a deliberate program that is geared towards engineering private sector to boost our industries. Look at what is happening in the automobile sector. If not for anything at all, you can point to a deliberate program that has given close to over 100 factories that are in operation.
I don't even want to go into that conversation because
you see
we've done the analysis.
And then what happened? And then there was no factory. There's no production.
I am surprised you're even asking.
No, there's no factory. There's no production.
Are you referring to 1D1F?
Yes.
Do you know how many places we've been?
It doesn't matter how
have.
many, but there are.
But what kind of argument are you
The argument you are making is what
kind of argument are you making?
You see, there are.
If we've been to many factories, especially up north, watermelon, rice, and others, and we only see mice,
it doesn't matter. I am telling you that.
What are you trying to say?
I'm telling you that if we had moved from a 0 to a 50, it doesn't mean that we haven't made progress. That's what you need to hear. That's what you need to listen to. Consistently, there's attempts to try to make it look like it's non-existent. It's wrong.
But if in some instances it is non-existent,
but in some instances,
what does that point to? What picture does that paint?
There is.
And in those instances, no one has condemned it. No one has condemned it.
So what are you talking about?
No, but I think you are missing a fundamental point.
You are missing the point.
Let me tell you.
Can you let me flow? What I told you was that
100%, and you are delivering at a certain level using taxpayers' money. Are you saying we don't have the right? Wait, 1D1F.
Relax. What is it?
1D1F.
What is it?
1D1F. What are you using to?
So you see, let me make the point.
What are you using to?
Let me make the point that we can make
miracles. What are you using?
Calm down. You have a country that needs to move towards industrialization. Now, a government comes in place, puts a program in place, and then the government has delivered over 100 factories. Then you claim that because you have identified that out of the 100 factories, about 20 of them are struggling, so it negates the 80 that
are not struggling, are non-existent.
Exactly. So it negates the 80 that are in existence.
I think
without the argument you are making, you are missing the point. Okay. You are missing the point.
So let me clarify.
But the point I am telling
Can I clarify my point? Since you are distorting things.
No, you are distorting. You are trying to distort the facts.
Okay, miracles. You claim you are going to give, let's say, 100 factories with taxpayers' money. You deliver 50 or 70. There's a gap of 30. Are we, as citizens, do we not have the right to criticize the fact that you've used our taxpayers' money and 30 of these, maybe you've even put up an edifice that is dormant, that has become overrun with weeds, no production going on? Do we not have the right to challenge you on that?
The dishonesty is in the challenge, because when you are challenging, your job is to tell the people that it's about 120.
We've done that time without number.
What if you don't let me speak?
We've done that time without number.
If you don't let me speak, we can't make progress. Because if I say every 10 seconds I interrupt with 1 minute, how do we talk?
Well, if you say something that actually has...
You let me finish, then you can come back. Because you see, right now, because of the unnecessary interjections, we moved on from where we were.
Go ahead, Miracle.
I am telling you that this government has put in place a program that is seeking to industrialize this country. And as we speak, there are factories in my municipality in my municipality.
Which is where?
There are at least 3. Shoe fabric in the Cropon.
Miracles.
And then, yes, shoe fabric in the Cropon. There is Richie plantations in Akwati Akwaso, in Adoso. Now, these are factories.
Shoe fabric, please go over them again.
Shoe fabric. These are organizations.
Mention another one.
Richie plantations.
Okay.
These are organizations that in my area, hitherto did not exist.
Okay.
So if not for anything at all, even if we are producing 1% of the need of that particular produce that they are making, it is an intervention. What we do is to strengthen such a program, to boost it and bring it up. But let me quickly come back to the point I was making before you distracted me. The chair you sit on. It is most likely it was imported from Turkey. Very, very most likely it was imported from Turkey. Turkey is one of the worst hit countries in terms of Russia-Ukraine war. Their inflation went all the way at some point to about 80%. Today, if you import this chair from Turkey at $100 to Ghana, and you come and sell it at $120, if you go back again and Turkey's inflation, as it were, went up to about 80%, it means that it would have moved from $100 to $180. If you bring that same chair back to Ghana, that same chair would now cost over $200. That would mean that you require a certain additional $80 to get from Ghana and send out there before you can buy the chair. So the impact of Russian-Ukraine war in our economy cannot be discounted. In as much as you try to tilt, skew, and cover it up, it cannot be discounted. So that's the fact.
How do you, thank you for making that point, which I do not see to be factual anyway.
Well, you haven't discounted which one of them is not factual?
Saying that
isn't it a fact that Turkey's inflation went all the way to 80%? Isn't it a fact that UK has affected Turkey's
so
economy?
you don't want me to intervene?
No, you said it wasn't factual, but isn't it a fact?
I'll explain to you.
Oh, explain.
Now, our inflation has gone over 50%. Within this tenure.
Yes.
In over 20 years.
Yes.
Even close to 3 decades.
Yes.
We've not seen anything like this.
Yes.
You want to make the comparison. I've heard some of you talk about the United States and the fact that they've hit 8% and the likes. They are not the same. The economies are very different. And what that may mean there is not the same as it may mean.
You see what your problem is? What your problem is
but
that
when we go
you choose and pick what to say.
Hold on.
Here you are saying that the economies are not the same. But when I told you that the economies are not the same, you disagree.
And I interject when you are making your point.
The level of distortion is amazing.
Is it true that the Russia-Ukraine war hit every country, including Ukraine itself?
Yes.
Ukraine itself.
Yes.
And yet, even our inflation was higher than theirs.
Is it true that
the country itself that was battling? No, hold on. You asked me a question. Let me make the point. The country itself that was hit by Russia, we were struggling more than that country. How does that make
Let me show you how poor your economy is. Let me show you how poor your level. Let me show you how poor your economy is.
There are other countries right here in Africa who were also hit.
Let me show you how poor your economy is.
Let me make my point. Who were also hit with all of this thing that you are saying.
Then you should have interviewed yourself.
It is my show. Anyway.
So you should have interviewed yourself. You should have interviewed.
The Zambias, the Kenyas, the Rwandas, and others all went through the very same things you people are talking about.
I think that
yet you keep telling us that in some way we were so battered by the Russo-Ukrainian war that
I think that if you didn't want
it was unprecedented.
Monologue. I think if you didn't want his perspective.
Well, that's why we invited you here. So it was unprecedented. How can you even say that?
I think if you didn't want our perspective, you should have had a monologue.
Miracles, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Let me show you how poor your economics is. So you see, Ukraine.
Since you are the chief economist, from the stock of the economic waste, who has left us where we are.
It's just common sense.
I am not surprised.
If you try to compare Ukraine, the fact that they have a war, and for which reason their inflation, the point is that Ukraine.
The fact that they have a war, they were not even able to supply grain. They were blocked.
But they're able to.
What did that do to the economy?
But if they're able to utilize the grain within their economy, they may not suffer the inflation we would suffer. Are you aware
of what it means, the blockade to Ukraine's economy? It is also common sense. It is also common sense, Miracles. That if they are not able to make the exports that runs their economy, what does that mean for them? The point you are making, actually...
And that is your view, so let me express my view, even if you disagree. But if you continue to interject with it, there's no interview. You need to understand that. Then you should have had a monologue. Shouldn't you? You disagree with me, but let me make my point. Because what you are saying, I disagree with you, but I let you finish.
You didn't let me finish, but you go ahead.
Can you finish and I can speak?
Go ahead, go ahead.
You make a very erroneous analysis that because Ukraine has a war, their inflation should be out of the roof. And I'm telling you that a lot of the things that is affecting us as a result of the Ukraine-Russian war is because of our import dependency on them. What it means is that if they are able to utilize the things that they are producing within their country, they are not likely to suffer that kind of inflation. That is just street economics. Because we are suffering the inflation because we are not getting it at the price that we're getting it hitherto. And so once it comes back into our country, it's going to be hiked. They are producing it within the country. They are utilizing it within the country. And so you do not make that analysis. It doesn't add up. It does not add up.
I see.
If you make the analysis, it does not add up. Let me draw your attention quickly. Nothing is happening in the world. All countries are doing well. You talk about a 20-year-old inflation. UK, US, they experience a 50-year-old inflationary hike. How about
more than 20 years?
a 40-year-old inflationary hike. How about that? Nothing is happening. The superpowers, they experienced it. You need to stop misleading the public. And sometimes
misleading for you.
Yeah,
but you're thinking.
But you see, you created an impression as if nothing is happening. And Ghana has had 20-year high inflation.
I am telling you that nothing was happening.
I am telling you that.
At what point did I say that nothing was happening?
I am telling you that countries across the world has experienced something that has never happened in the last 120 years as a result of the global pandemic. And that is why US, Ukraine, Germany, superpower countries have suffered the consequences of this same war. And so, in as much as we, probably in our context, might have experienced this at a higher level, it does not change the fact that the impact we are suffering now is as a result of the UK-Russian war. That doesn't change it. It doesn't change it. And then you talk about it and you do not introduce any.
So let me ask you, if I may. Okay. Can I come in now?
Sure, you can.
Okay, all right. What percentage of what we are facing will you attribute to the Russo-Ukrainian war, especially when, all the way from around 2019, the writing was on the wall. Economists, CSO started talking to you about your borrowing. Global outfits started warning you about your borrowing. Excessive borrowing. Today we are talking about the fact that Fitch is telling us by close of year, where is that paper? I think I have to look. Yes. By close of year, our debt to GDP will be 99%. What happened?
So let me tell you again.
What happened around that time when they were pointing to all of these things?
Again.
So
are you aware?
What amount of the blame we attribute to Russia?
Are you aware that about 40% of our debt is as a result of exchange rate differentials? 40%, 40. And you know why? Because our debt is largely in dollar. And so if you had the kind of impact that you've had, if you have your exchange rate moving from 5 cedis all the way to about 16, now to about 11 cedis, doubling, then you should expect what you are saying. What it means is that it is not the borrowing that has brought us here. It is the same impact. The same impact, because 40% of our debt is as a result of exchange rate differentials. And so once you are able to agree on the exchange rate differential component, then you understand why, even though we borrowed, we would not have been here but for that same challenge. But for that same challenge, why don't you tell your viewers that? Why don't you talk about that?
Before Russia and Ukraine hit, and then if you look at currently at our debt stock, what has been added onto it? More than all the administrations.
I've just given you this
since independence.
I've just told you that 40% of that same debt.
Put together.
40% of that same debt.
40%. How does that add up for you?
I've just told you that 40% of that debt is not money we borrow.
Our debt is around 600 billion.
40% of that debt is not money.
You added about 450 billion.
40%, about half of that money is not money we borrow.
So let's do this. Let's do the math.
About half of that money is not money we borrow.
Let's say almost 500 billion, but let's say about 450 billion. Okay? Let's do the math. So 40. Here we go. So let's even take out the 180 billion from it. You're still left with 270 billion, which is still more than many administrations. In fact, probably all administrations, if I'm looking at this figure, put together in this Fourth Republic.
How many? Because we have built more. We have
in this Fourth Republic.
Yes. We have provided more infrastructure in senior high school than all administrations. We have provided more support to private sector to go into industrialization of all administrations. We have invested more in health infrastructure than all administration. We have invested more in road infrastructure than all administrations. That justifies it.
I see. So when you look at education, you've been touting. You've been touting.
You've done better.
You've done better, but to what quotient that will justify this?
Are you aware that
are you aware of the problems with free SHS?
Yes.
Are you aware of the problems?
And those problems existed, and now
sometimes you're not even able to feed the kids.
Are you aware that when we rolled out free senior high school, enrollment doubled? Are you aware? And as a result of that, and as a result of that, the children could not even find places to sleep. Are you aware that? Numbers? Of course, why not?
You're looking merely at numbers.
Access is number one. Access is number one.
How about quality?
Access is first.
How about quality?
Access is first. Quality reflects in the results. Have you seen the results? Quality reflects in the performance. Have you seen the results? How are you measuring it?
Are you looking at? Are you also considering the teacher to student ratios?
You see,
the percentages in terms of time. No, I'm referring to the same thing. I'm talking about quality. I'm talking about quality.
And
you're referring to when
the performance.
You give students pass
quality will reflect
to go and prepare for exams, and that is it.
You didn't have
That's good for you.
You didn't have past questions.
Let me tell you.
Hasn't past questions been part of exams?
Do you even know when I left secondary school?
Past questions.
Anyway.
Hasn't past questions always been part of exam preparations? You can't answer that.
Here's what I'll tell you.
You cannot answer that one. Past questions.
If the students,
which exams candidate prepares without past questions?
Miracles. If the students are not getting the right time hours, and you provide them with past questions at the last minute, and they pass through that, let me tell you where it is exposed.
You are one of Ghana's.
Let me tell you where
you are one of Ghana's problems.
You are one of Ghana's solutions, right?
You
are one of Ghana's solutions,
to espouse such things on TV. Let me tell you something.
You made a point. You will not continue talking.
Finish and I'll come.
My colleagues who lecture in the universities, do you know what they tell me?
What do they tell you?
A lot of these students, and I must just fall short of mentioning names, across the board, a lot of these students come, they can't even manage the English for teaching. They need to be taught for about a month English.
You guys,
so when we refer to quality, and you keep referencing quantity and
your
miracles
is so poor that it's not even funny anymore. Go and finish and I'll come in.
Okay. As you keep interjection, when I interject, don't cry because you are making
interjecting from scratch, so is that a problem?
In terms of the enrollments, they may have gone up. But the resources to contain these enrollments, why did you have to run the double track and all of those systems? Because you don't have the space for them. There have been complaints about sleeping accommodation. We have done so many stories, unless you've been oblivious to them. Feeding has been problematic. And you are sitting here telling me that, once the numbers are ballooned and for some whatever period they are passing, that nullifies everything. How can you even think in that way?
Clouded with the opinion.
Since you are not clouded, please explain to me.
See, let me tell you something. The issue of performance first. The only way, it's not your view, the only way you can measure the performance.
But it's your view.
No. The only way you can measure the performance of a student is his results in the examination. And the results are an all-time best in the last 10 to 15 years. So when you talk about performance, you just don't know what you're talking about because the results are there. We're not going to measure the output of the performance or the quality of the student's education based on your sentiments and your views.
My sentiments?
Yes, it's going to be based on...
Have you looked at the breakdowns when it comes to English, the core subject?
Yes, it is better.
Have you taken a look at them?
Open it now.
Have you seen the performances in some years versus other years?
It is better. Open it now. It is better. Open it now. Share it. Let your producer share it.
As though we didn't talk about these.
It is better. It is better. Share it. It's improved. Share it.
Go ahead.
Secondly, you talk about numbers. When we rolled out free SHS, you'd realize that because the numbers were so huge, the government realized that we have two options. Either we leave the 100,000 children continuously that we live on the street to be on the street, or we take advantage of the gap that we have during their vacation and get all other children enrolled. So maybe you do not understand double track, but double track basically means that the period within which the classrooms are empty, the period within which the other students are on vacation, let another batch come to school and come and study. Today, a lot of the schools, over 80% of the schools, have phased out from double track. Why? Because the 240 million about that you mentioned has been utilized to provide infrastructure for these schools. There is no secondary school. Can you let me finish?
Oh, I thought you were ending. Go ahead then.
And there is no secondary school in this country that hasn't received an intervention one way or the other in terms of infrastructure from the government. to ensure that the numbers that they are getting will have places to sleep, classes to study in, and then dining halls to eat in. That is how you solve problems. You don't solve problems by preventing other citizens in having access to what is basic to everybody. That is how you solve problems.
Are you done now?
Yes.
Two quick things. The proportion of free SHS in terms of what we've been spending on it, the 1-point-something billion every now and then, versus the gargantuan debt we are facing, it's just a drop in the bucket.
It doesn't matter. So
can we use? No, will you allow me? You are the one who always want to be allowed to speak. Relax. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the overall cost. Why should we even be having a discussion on this? Because its contribution to the entire debt is minuscule. Then again, we've gone to the IMF. We've gone to the IMF because supposedly we are broke. We don't have the wherewithal. We're a proud nation and all of that. We've still gone to the IMF. You look at the IMF and what it has said to us about free education. I'm sure you followed. The World Bank. They've told us that we have challenges in there. We ought to streamline, just for lack of having the exact wording, so I don't want to. We have to streamline free SHS in terms of beneficiaries. Yet we are still going down the same road. Why?
You see,
so two questions, please. I asked you two questions. The component of free SHS spending in terms of the debt, and what even the IMF has said.
I spoke about agriculture. I spoke about health. I spoke about the broad infrastructure, roads and what have you. Free SHS was one of the things I mentioned.
Well, so, we've had a conversation.
Let's focus on that. When you have the time, you can compute. So you can, if you tell me it's just a drop, you haven't said anything. 270 billion
we've not spent up to about... No, if you want to go down that road, we've not spent even over 20 billion on free SHS.
You make life so difficult.
You say it's a drop, and I'm giving you the figure. So now break it down for us.
I'm telling you that 270 billion has been invested in several sectors, which I mentioned.
True.
You decided to pick on free SHS for us to discuss.
We've been talking about it.
Yeah, but you decided for us to discuss that, and we've gone through that. So when you come back and say it, so what are you asking me to tell you now? What are you asking me to tell you? You are
touting it as
it not?
This thing.
Do you know how many children...
Which justifies part of the 270 billion. And I'm just trying to tell you that it's only a drop in the bucket.
But there are others. So go and pick the others and project all of them, then you can have that conversation.
Right.
What are you asking me to tell you now?
Right.
Is it not the fact that over 100,000 children that were being left on the street every year are now in the classroom? And so if you say, oh, you borrowed, what did you use it for? Roads, health, agric, industry, education, and then you say free SHS is just small, go and pick the others and run all of them. Then you can have a complete conversation.
I'll come to the economy.
That's notwithstanding. Let's establish one fact today.
Right.
The fact that Free Senior High School has brought close to 100,000 children who are left on the street consistently every year to the classroom. Free Senior High School has provided the needed infrastructure for most of the senior high schools to be able to hold the children, and it continues to provide this infrastructure. Free Senior High School is ensuring that children will have the needed quality education that they desire, and it's reflecting in the results. The Free Senior High School students, most of them who are in third year or thereabouts in the university, have churned out one of the best performing results that this country has seen in the last 10 or 15 years. And we cannot, under any circumstance, discount it. You may not be so happy it's doing well, but I'm sorry, that's your loss.
I may not be so happy it's doing well.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, for someone who is in the studio for us to talk about the merits of a campaign and everything, I find it surprising you would say that, but I'll leave you to your opinion.
Yeah, but that's your loss.
They are like noses. Everybody has one. I want us to look at the economy.
Okay.
You've been talking about Dr. Bawumia and the economic management team that he heads. But before we get into that, let me just cross over to my colleague Samuel Mbura. He's standing by. He is with the Bawumia camp, and he has some juicy tidbits for us ahead of November the 4th. Samuel Mbura, if you can hear me, please go ahead.
Yeah, Benjamin, good morning. We are reaching you live from the Jubilee Park here in Bawumia, the Upper East Regional Capital. Today, the Vice President is firming up and actually concluding his campaign ahead of the November 4 Congress. Yesterday, he was in his home region, the Northeast region, and had a rousing welcome. We had all the delegates there, confirming and then throwing their full support behind him. He had big wigs also following his campaign team. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Chama Wuntumi, was there. The Northern MPP caucus also declared their full support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So we know this is a critical or the pivotal part of the elections. So they have, or this is the last minute, they have to convince these delegates to give them their votes among the four. So we know that Bawumia has already been tipped as a forerunner for the elections. There are, projections that he's likely to win over 80%. Regardless of that, he's still touching base with the electorates here. Here in the Upper East region, they have over 8,000 delegates that will be casting their ballots. I'm fortunate to have with me the regional chairman of the NPP. He's called lawyer Anthony Namo, for us to have the conversation. But right behind me, you can see that they are preparing for him to come. In the next 2 hours, this rally will begin. Thank you very much for joining us, Chairman, on Joy News Channel. What do you make of the preparation so far ahead of the November 4 Congress?
Thank you very much. Preparation has been ongoing for weeks now for today's event. And of course, for November, the election committee has also been preparing very hard. And as we speak now, we all know the venues where the elections will take place. We have 15 venues in the region, and all of them have been communicated to the constituencies, and they all know their venue. But of course, for today's program, it's for His Excellency, the Vice President, to canvass his campaign tour. Already he has toured 261 constituencies in the country, and he says that he's going to do the canvass in Upper East region. We are honored to be hosting him because to provide.
How critical is it for him to come and hold the final rally here? This is a region, 15 constituencies. You have only one seat. What does that mean to you?
Yes, thank you. One seat is also important if you know what is happening in Parliament now. So one seat used not to be seen as anything, but it's very critical. And I'm sure his coming and subsequent coming would also help us to prop us so that we can get more seats. So the 2024 December 7th election is a process, and of course this will be one of them. And so
you are a lawyer, and I know you love to always protect your integrity. There are allegations flying out there that you the chairman, were giving some amounts and giving pickups as well. Clarify, did you receive your share? Maybe I can get mine after here.
I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that there was no such an amount given to anybody here. And as a matter of fact, as far as Vice President was concerned, he never sent any money to this region to give to anybody. So I'm surprised. And Vice President himself has debunked that allegation in the Northern region. And the chairman of constituency chairman across the country also issued a statement debunking whatever allegation was put out there. People were giving 100,000 and pickups. So it's unfortunate that in an internal contest such as ours, people will not look at the issues.
Is it the fact that you, the chairman, are suppressing some of the aspirants from reaching out to the delegates and then rather working towards favoring the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
That is unfortunate. If you look at when Kennedy came, he had his rally here for about 3 constituencies. My executives who were available were all here with him. So we communicated even to our constituencies that Kennedy was coming because he duly notified us that he was coming. But of course, if a candidate is coming and he hasn't notified us, we will not be able to inform the people to come.
All right, so let me put you on the spot on this. Yes. When I was in Northeast region, yes. I was in Northern region, all these regions, I've been communicated to that all the 5 Northern regions have declared for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Is that the situation in Upper East region?
If you look at the party, we delegates only represent a larger body. And so if you live in a polling station and your members of the party in the polling station who are running into hundreds tell you that this is the direction we want you to go. So delegates are instructed that this is the way you should go. And so as far as I'm concerned, it is the polling station members at the video who have told their 5 members that this is where we want our votes to go. So it is not an instruction from coming from our.
What percentage are you projecting from your region? Are you giving him 100%?
Well, what I can tell you that when we got 86%, our party members and the polling station executive were highly disappointed that we got 86% in the superdelegates. And therefore, they are telling everybody, including themselves, that they are looking towards 100%.
Do you think the aspirants who have come to your region have conducted themselves so well?
Yes, so far, I cannot all the aspirants who came, they conducted themselves very well. Kennedy was here, and even though he mentioned the term showdown, when he came here, it was very civil engagements. Even the Boku zone, he appealed for peace and calm. And that was, and we're happy that he has come to the zone where there's conflict, and he managed to, also call for peace so that we can have development. That is the kind of message that, so as far as Upper East is concerned, when Kennedy came, he did his part. His message was, he wasn't, apart from the allegation of 100,000, and I'm sure most of our delegates here knew that it was far from the truth. But we didn't want to confront him like it happened in that area. We just took it on the light, and a statement was issued.
Is everything set for your region for the elections on Saturday?
Yes, sure. Everything is set because the election material, I'm sure they will communicate to us. We are not handling it. It's the Electoral Commission handling it. And as soon as they arrive in the region, I'm sure we'll be informed. And how they will distribute to the constituency will also be informed about them.
Okay, so Benjamin, that's the Upper East Regional Chairman of the MPP, lawyer Anthony Namo. He's serving his 2 years as chairman of the party. He's a lawyer per his background as well. You heard him talking about what they intend to deliver for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the November 4 Congress. They have over 8,000 delegates.
104 delegates. 8,104 delegates.
So that's 8,104. The youth play a critical role, and I have Salahuddin. He is the regional youth organizer of the NPP in the Upper East region. Salahuddin, how is the youth prepared for this Congress?
Good morning, Samuel, and good morning to listeners of Joy News. I must say that the youth are well prepared. For the past week, we've been here engaging them from constituency to constituency, engaging the youth in all the constituencies. I can say for sure that all of them are rooting for the vice president. We are not forcing them. We have engaged them, and they have given us their thinking that to them they are seeing that this is the time for the vice president. This is the time for Mahmoud Bawumia to take leadership of the party because they believe in him and they know that with him we can break the eight with him. Yes.
Are you doing this because he is a Northerner? You are doing that because he's your brother? Or you are doing this on the grounds that he is competent to lead the party, subsequently becoming the president of the country?
Well, we are not doing it because he's a Northerner or he's a brother. One thing that must be stated without any equivocation is that this is the first ever vice president who has played critical role in national policies. We can talk of paperless port, we can talk of mobile interoperability, we can talk of the Ghana card, a lot of policies that this man has led as vice president. Ask yourself, he is just number 2 doing all these things. If he gets the chance to lead the party and lead this country, what do you think he can do? He will do far more than he's doing as vice president. So we believe in him. He's very competent, he's very humble, he can do the job as a president, not because he's a Northerner.
All right, Salahuddin, thank you very much. We are grateful. I know Benjamin, time is not by our side, but there's a situation here in Bogatanga, the Upper East Regional Capital. We have 15 constituencies. But the MPP occupies only one seat. That is the Binduri seat. The rest have been occupied by the NDC. That reduction in number was witnessed in the 2020 election. Initially, they were having about 4 seats, but reduced to 1 there. So that is it. All is set for the vice president to come and address the people of the Upper East region. So far as concluding and firming up his campaign tour is concerned. But you heard from the chairman, you heard from the youth organizer, they are all rooting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, not because he is a tribesman, but because he's competent. So if you don't have further questions, I will hand it over back to you, Benjamin, in Accra.
Thank you very much, Samuel Ubura, for bringing us the scoop ahead of that locking of horns on November the 4th. And we'll be getting a bit into the surveys that have been conducted as of now. But I have some messages coming through. Miracles, some of them I cannot read because but let me take this one. Engineer Mahama sends in this one. He says, Côte d'Ivoire is doing under 10% inflation. That's our next door neighbor. What is happening to the Ekumfi factory after 7 years? Is the sugarcane not maturing yet, or has it not matured yet? What has happened to Saglemi and the abandoned houses? Using money halfway and abandoning projects recklessly. We read in our JHS Agric books way back in 1995 that the lack of combined harvesters was our bane in rice production, and it's still relevant today. We still don't have it yet. Miracle is saying 40% of our debt is as a result of the cedi's depreciation. Do you have any answers to this before we move on with the conversation?
Have you asked how much Cote d'Ivoire inflation was in 2018, 2019? It was under 1%.
So they've gone to
I'm just trying
less than 10%.
Yes, but you see...
What was our inflation in 2018, 2019 and comparatively?
And I start talking all the interject, then they take make basa, then you come and be...
What they're to say?
Let me speak here.
Check like right now, your face make this thing for us.
Yeah, because...
You go ahead.
It's because of the way you started the interview. It tells the whole thing. Let me flow.
Go ahead.
You are saying that Cote d'Ivoire is 10% or 9%.
Under.
Yes,
10%.
and your assertion is because we are at 40%. And I'm telling you that if you want to compare countries in terms of inflation, that's not how you do the comparison. You don't look at the nominal figures, you look at the rates. I'm saying Cote d'Ivoire, 2018 was about 0.62% from Statista. Here it is.
Okay.
0.62%. So if you want to really compare, then go and ask yourself how much was Ghana's inflation in the same 2019 and how much it is now. Then you can really understand the variance. But if you say Ghana is at 38...
Make the comparative.
No, I can't.
I
can't do those computations now. But I'm just trying to draw your attention that it's a poor way of running companies.
But you don't have the figures yet.
No, but I have. I'm telling you that...
But I'm saying do the comparative with Ghana's inflation.
I'm telling you that, listen. Cote d'Ivoire's inflation, where you say is 9%.
How can you make the comparative when you're looking at only one side? Make the comparison with Ghana. That's the comparative.
The point I'm making is this. If you want to compare countries in terms of inflation, you don't go pick Cote d'Ivoire. So, okay, then America's inflation is 6%. Cote d'Ivoire is 9%. You really think the economies are the same?
We moved from single-digit inflation.
Don't change the comment.
To 54%.
Let's finish this conversation.
54%.
Let's finish this point I'm making. Don't detour. America.
I brought it up the first
America's
time.
inflation is at 6%. Cote d'Ivoire is at 9%. Do you really think that the economies are the same?
But of course, the economies are different. There are different scales.
So exactly. So that's the point I'm making. So I'm saying that is a poor way of running the comparison.
So you're saying
between countries.
You're saying that the mere fact that because there are these disparities, and it is common, it is trite knowledge, because every economy is different anyway.
The mere fact that
saying
the mere fact that Ivory Coast inflation is at 9%, Ghana's inflation is at 38%. It doesn't mean that necessarily Ivory Coast is doing way better than Ghana. Ivory Coast has seen its own share of economic crisis because they used to be under 1% and they are at 9%. That is the principle. That's the principle.
Let me even forget. Okay, you go ahead. Go.
You want to take the conversation.
I want to make a point about Togo, but
next time you should do a monologue.
Even Togo, right?
You keep jumping.
Next door neighbor.
But the principle is the same.
The principle is the same. Have you been to any of these countries?
Yes, I have.
Which ones?
Ivory Coast, about a month ago. The principle is the same.
What's the cost of living there? How do you find it? Fuel and everything.
How are you measuring it? How would you measure
cost of living from one country to another country? How would you measure that?
So the point here is that I'm saying that the principle is simple. You do not run companies' comparison inflation on nominal figures. Look at their rate. They used to be they were about 0.62%, they are 9%. Ask yourself why. What's happening to them? How come? Because if you look at the figures, 2004, all the way to 2019, they were under 1%. Then all of a sudden, from 2020 to now, they've shot up.
And we moved from single digits to 54%.
So it tells you that something is happening in the global economy.
The same thing happened to them.
But you see, you're not following. You see, and again, that is the problem. The problem is that you deliberately try to ignore what is going on.
How am I ignoring when I'm saying that the very things that happened to us happened to them?
So you expected,
this is how they weathered the storm. And this is where we ended.
The time they were at 0.62%, our inflation was around 17%. The time that they were 2016 when they are 0.65.
If you look at the trajectory from 2017, hold on. From 2017 to around 2020. Where was our inflation?
I won't let you digress.
Where was our inflation?
I won't let you digress again.
Compared to that. No, where was our inflation?
I won't let you digress again. In 2016, when our inflation was at 17%, Ivory Coast was under 1%.
But you took over and
I am telling you, I am only telling you that I'm trying to use your own argument.
Why are you using 2016, by the way?
Because it tells you that is how the economies are structured. That Ghana, when we are 17%, Ivory Coast was
Let's talk about when you took over from 2017. What was the inflation?
And what is the inflation of Ivory Coast that you are comparing?
What was the inflation?
What is the?
You made mention of it.
But I've told you 17%.
And we are talking about Ivory Coast compared to ours.
It was under It was 0.56%, and we were 70%.
But we've gone into the 10.
But they've gone to 9%.
No, we've gone into single
digits. And they have gone to 9% from 0.56.
And we shot up to 54%.
Calculate the percentage of rate increase. Then you understand. That's how you calculate.
There's something you are not answering.
What am I not answering?
You say you went to the Ivory Coast. I'm asking you, comparatively, cost of living. You can. I've been to other countries within the sub-region. In fact, very soon I'll be in another such country.
I cannot
and I'm saying
to that's your question.
When you go
there is no basis.
I'll tell you my experience.
There is no basis for that comparison.
I'll tell you my experience.
I don't have a basis for that. I don't have a basis.
For example,
I don't have a basis. I don't have a basis.
The disparity is yawning. Cost of food, cost of fuel, cost of so many things.
In this country, everybody knows that in this country, even our traders have been going to Togo to go and bring less costly.
But you are making comparisons. Why not Togo?
No, you see, Togo.
Why not
Togo? Mm-hmm. If you go to Okaishi, they will tell you that our parents have been going to Togo to go and buy things from there as a result of their free port since time memorial to now. So why are you trying to make it look like? Why are you trying to make it look like it's now that Togo is less expensive?
There's no comparative to
yes, you are trying to.
No, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
There's no comparative.
There's no basis.
But you started the comparison talking about the sub-region.
You asked the question.
You are talking about the sub-region. Togo is in our sub-region.
Because you see, you don't listen. I am telling you that even Togo has been hit. Ivory Coast has been hit. And that was when I have given you the figures.
The numbers are still far better than ours. So just because of a free port.
Oh my God.
Just because of a free port. The situation must be way better than ours.
Of misleading your viewers is so high that you don't let me speak.
Well, that is your opinion.
I am telling you that Ivory Coast, if you want to test whether the Ivory Coast economy has been hit by the global economy, you don't come and say that because Ghana is 38 and Ivory Coast is 9, they are fine.
Well,
you go, let me finish.
You've lived there, you still can't give me a comparative when it comes to the cost of living.
Check.
So I think we'll leave
you go and check where Ivory Coast was before now, and then you will realize that indeed the economy has been impacted. In 2016, their inflation was about 0.56%. Today, you tell me their inflation is about 9%. It tells you how much hit they have received as a result of the global impact, and you want to pretend that doesn't exist.
So our hits had to take us all the way to 54.
The time they were at 0.56%, we were 70%.
I guess for you,
the time they were under 0.56%, we were 70%.
Those of you watching, I'm hoping that justifies where we are.
They know the fact. You are skewing it.
Let me ask you this: as head of the economic management team, the whiz kid, the economic whiz kid. The vice president, some would say, has performed abysmally. How do you respond to that?
He hasn't.
He hasn't?
Yes, it would have been worse.
I still remember the bit about the solid economic management team.
It would have been worse.
The solid team has left us where we are.
Ask me, then give your own commentary. Run a monologue. You don't have to bring me here if you do this. You ask me a question, I am answering.
I thought you would be using the time to respond, though.
But you're not giving me the time.
Well, you are spending that time.
No, carry on. Then close the program.
Respond to it.
Then close the program.
Economic management team.
Let me speak.
Please tell us about the economic whiz.
I am telling you that it would have been worse.
It would have. I see.
Don't unnecessarily interject. Let me speak. It would have been worse.
It would have. This is my show, mind you. And it would have, saying it would have is not an interjection. Please go ahead.
I have nothing more to add.
Well, let's talk about the 800 million as well that another opponent, Kennedy Ejapong, is talking about, that your side wanted to use to influence him. Do you have any response to that?
It's completely false. It's unfounded. It's baseless. The vice president has been very busy on the road, running the campaign and speaking with the delegates, those who are going to vote, under no time. Who had no time as a vice president even thought of engaging any of the candidates to step down in this contest. There's a yawning gap between the vice president and even the next second place candidate. And we have no reason to ask anybody to step down, let alone offer $800 million. I don't even think Ghana has $800 million seated anywhere right now.
Which is why some of us found that very interesting. But
so straight away, you should know that it's completely out of place.
But the interesting thing is that this is not the first time Kennedy Ejapong is saying this. You know that?
Yeah.
He's kept repeating that. Now, what we find interesting is the fact that Kennedy Ejapong has proven himself in the last, the superdelegates election to be a force within the MPP, whether surprising or not. Don't you find it interesting that someone in such a position levels such an accusation against what the surveys have revealed is the person in pole position?
So far,
at least for the fact that he is saying that, what signal does that
So far,
send?
it's completely false that Kennedy Ejapong has shown that he's a force to reckon with. There was about 900 votes in the last election. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was first, got over 600. The second place person, which was Kennedy Japan, got barely 120.
Did you expect Ken to get that much?
Well, we don't care about what somebody is getting.
You didn't, so he's become a force.
So that is your, because if I go into an election of a 900 votes and I get 600, and you call the second place person who barely made 100 a force, that's a poor assertion, but that's your opinion.
I see.
You understand?
This time we're looking at again, over 200,000.
It would even be worse. It would be worse. The gap between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the second place person would even be worse on Saturday. And I can assure you that. And we said this, and I remember I was here before the August 26th, and I said it here, that he was going to do nothing less than a 70%. On Saturday, November 4th, the vice president would not do anything less than a 70%. So I don't know where this whole perception of force to reckon with has come. He is not reckoning with us. The second place person is reckoning with the third and fourth place. But it's not with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia under any measure. And so that assertion cannot be substantiated. Again, with respect to this whole step down conversation, let's put it on record. And yesterday we issued a statement to that effect. The vice president is very much interested in getting a contest on Saturday, because this factless point that you make should be established.
Which factless
that other candidates are forced to be reckoned with. It should be established. And the only way
it appears the only way you acknowledge the facts are the opinions that you
but why? What supports the fact that you believe that somebody is forced to be reckoned with?
Global Info Analytics, for example, have you seen their research?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
What does it tell you?
But they gave a survey before August 26th. Have you gone to check and ask them why they are surveying? And their survey didn't pass. It didn't pass. So why should I? I predicted 70%.
What did not pass?
I predicted 70% for August 26th. Vice President got 69. Check what they predicted and check how much Vice President got.
Oh, so you are not giving any credence to them?
No, because they have so far their predictions didn't come to pass. Ours rather passed. So between us and any other survey, we will pay attention to ours. What we take from service usually is a commentary. You know, the feedback. What are the people saying? Those are the things we take seriously. And then we'll find ways and means to work within them and make sure that we are amending ourselves and improving in other areas. But in terms of vice president, I hear they even said the vice president will do under 50%. We'll get to about 43%. It's all just predictions, like Ajana one.
Do you subscribe to the Center for Sustainable African Development Initiative report? They say the vice president will get about 80.8%. Do you subscribe to that one?
I know that the vice president will do nothing less than 70%.
Nothing less than 70%.
Yes, that I know. Nothing less than 70%.
You're playing it safe.
No, that's the best way to go about service.
But even if you look
human beings are not like
if you look at the primary, the super delegates and what he got, it would make sense to play around that figure. Because
but we predicted
obviously
that.
Over 20% going to Kennedy Japan and the rest, sharing the spoils. But some have said that with the number 200,000, you're looking at about 1% versus 100%. The about 2,000 that voted for the super delegates are now over 200,000. And it's been said that is where really we'll be able to separate the boys from the men. But people have also spoken. Today I even saw Dr. Efri Akoto has spoken about, he calls it manipulation and favoritism. Adainimo has spoken about it. Boakye Jako has spoken about it. Alachem, I think, even on the back of that, decided to go and form his movement.
It's an election. It's an election. We are
and we've heard the Ashanti regional chairman of your party even going to the extent of saying that he, together with other chairmen, chiefs, and others, will sponsor feeding and other things on the day of the primary in the name of Dr. Bawumia. Let me just ask you this. The question is. Do you find this to be fair? Is it not the manipulation that some other candidates are speaking of?
I mean, it's an election, and it's an internal election that has delegates. In elections, lobbying and influence is very important, including whipping. And that's why even when you go to parliament, whipping is formalized.
This is outside of parliament.
No, I am from Ikiapem North. I have been MC in Ikiapem North. I support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. From here, I'm going to Ikiapem North. I'm going to call the delegates and tell them that I support the vice president. If you like me, come with me and let's vote for the vice president. And we are asking a lot more party people, party leaders to do that. It is up to you, the other contender, to find ways and means to get a lot more party leaders to be with you. In this party, when we are going for the internal election, we all have one vote, including the president.
So why don't you go with your vote and your conscience to vote for
So
him?
who is going to campaign for who? Who is going to campaign for who?
Alone?
You need to set up a campaign team. You need to bring people to campaign for you. Who is going to campaign for you? Who is going to campaign for you? Your job, in fact, your first test is how will you be able to convince people to buy into your ideas and get them to advocate for you. There is no crime in getting people to support your cause. There is no crime in getting people to advocate for you, and that's exactly what we are doing. Even this morning, we are still talking to a lot more influential people within the party. That is our job as a campaign team. Why do you think we've been put together? Our job is to come together, identify people who can work on people, and get people. There are people that we go to their girlfriends, we go to their wives, we go to their husbands to get them to talk to their partners to vote for us. That is what politics is about.
The MPP is seeking to break the 8. Some are saying that with the push for Dr. Bawumia, whom they call the establishment candidate, you'll win the battle, but you can't win the war. How do you react?
We are going to win the war to your amazement and to your shock. As a matter of fact, on probably 8th December, midnight, thereabout, you will be declaring here for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You see, on two grounds. The people of Ghana have learned from what happened between 2000 and 2008. When President Kufuor took over this country, we were on our knees. He moved this country so well that by the time he was leaving office, Ghana was called the gateway to Africa. We were touted as the golden age of business. Banks were coming to our homes and asking us to come for loans and do business. In the year 2008, the elections year, President Kufuor encountered two challenges. Challenge number one, fuel price shortage and hikes. Challenge number two, water shortages. You remember the Kufuor yellow gallon, where in the morning you see people move up and down with yellow gallons looking for water. When we got into the election period, the NDC plus their collaborators decided to spin as a result of those two challenges and said, oh, Ghana is hard, Ghana is difficult, like you're doing this morning. Ghana is hard, Ghana is difficult, Ghana is this, Ghana is that.
Maybe Ghana is good for you, it's not.
And then they started running around with Kufuor and his people have stolen all the gold from Bank of Ghana. They have stolen money. This is their NIB account, their GCB account. And then the people of Ghana had no choice. As a result of some of the things that you are doing here, they had no choice, and then they voted for the NDC. Fast forward, when the NDC came to power and they were being vetted, a lot of them said that most of the things they said were lies. And I'm very, very sure a lot of the things that you say here, eventually, God forbid, if MPP is not in power, NDC is here, you would come and admit that, in fact, a lot of them were not factual. We have gone down that lane.
I take serious
before.
exception to what
you're
saying.
Of course, but a lot of them are not factual.
We operate with data.
We
operate with what the facts and figures are.
I've challenged you.
Which ones have you challenged?
Which ones have you challenged? So you realize that...
No. I will not allow you to go on. Do not come and sit here and say that we do not operate with what...
I said a lot of them. So it means that some of them are, but a lot of them are.
A lot of what you have said here is not factual.
So be it.
So don't come and say that.
So eventually, like it happened in 2009, like it happened in 2009, a lot of you will come and admit that some of the things you said, but God forbid, the people of Ghana have learned from that, and they have realized that when eventually we left power to the NDC, the results were what we experienced in 2016, where places like multimedia had to even lay off workers because your operational costs were so high. You were running on gensets. Some media houses were...
My lights were off yesterday. Ooh. My lights were off. Do you know how many times the light has been going off in different...
We would have wished it was...
You probably have power outages, but you will not speak.
We would have wished it was like this in 2016. We would have wished it was like this in 2016.
Miracles...
You let me finish.
Joy, please wrap the conversation.
You're not happy.
Please go. Please wrap.
You're not happy.
Please wrap.
So based on all of...
No, we actually have to go to...
So based on all of these things, the people of Ghana are clear in their minds that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia must be given the opportunity to ring fence and protect the little gains we have made.
I see.
The few factories that are operational.
Okay.
The hospitals that we are putting up.
All right.
The children that are in schools. The infrastructure we are providing for these schools. The effort we are making in health, agric. These gains must be protected whilst we pursue the outstanding things like the macroeconomic indicators that are not looking too good. Okay. Once we pursue them, we have to make sure that those gains are protected. That is the reason why on the 8th of December, you would be here declaring for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia against your wishes.
All right. Thank you very much, Dennis Miracles Aboagye, for joining the conversation this morning. He's a member of the Dr. Bawumia campaign.
I'll be back.
And he's an MC, are you still?
I was a former MC.
Okay, former MC. He says he's campaigning for Bawumia and he will whip his people in line.
Absolutely.
But we'll see what happens on November the 4th. That is where the cookie will crumble. The comments are so many, but Abigail Owusu says, you will win the internal, but lose the main elections. Well, this has been the interaction from the Dr. Bawumia end of things. But how about Dr. Efriye Akoto? He's also in the fray. Now, we told you we were looking at two of them. Here's a conversation with the former Agric Minister, together with my own colleague, Elton John Brobe.
So we've gathered here again in the presence of Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto, one of the contestants for the MPP upcoming November 4 National Delegates Congress. The aim of this Congress is to select a candidate for the 2024 general elections. Now, he sailed through in the Super Delegates Congress, but this time the Electoral College is quite big. Over 200,000 people will decide who should lead the party into the 2024 general elections. We're going to look back into events before the Super Delegates, events after, and then we look forward to November 4, which is just around the corner. The issues surrounding who qualifies to vote, whether the field is such leveled that regardless of the outcome, there will be no complaints. Dr. Efriye, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I remember we had a chat before the Super Delegates Congress. We were quite confident that we were going to make the 5, and indeed you did.
That's right.
And now the bigger picture is ahead of us. But let's stay a bit on the Super Delegates Congress. Before the Congress, you had a lot of issues to put out. I don't know whether these matters got the attention of leadership, and if anything was about it.
No, I mean, when the elections came on the 26th, it was very clear a few days before that things were going badly wrong. I mean, practices which has never been experienced in this party before were being carried out, including campaign of delegates, and these are, they're talking about the top echelon of this party, where party constituency chairmen were gathered in hotels in all the 16 regional headquarters against the regulations that had been established, and then being bussed on the day in bulk to the polling stations, the balloting centers, and in some cases, from the reports I got from my agents, showing the ballot after it had been, showing the ballot to their colleagues before dropping it into the box, which is totally against the constitution of this republic.
It was against the guidelines set up by the party itself.
Exactly. Even against the constitution. The constitution of Ghana says that the ballot is secret. And of course the party regulations and so on. And you had it in, I don't want to mention the names of the regions, but where we have the evidence that it was openly done. And quite a few of the regional centers had that going on. And plus, of course, you know what happened in Ararigu, where the agent of Mr. Trematin was brutalized to the extent of blindness and all of that. And yet, up to today, there's absolutely no record in the Ghana Police Service to show that violence, which is a crime, occurred at that location. So these are some of the things which occurred on the day. Things went really badly wrong, and there was definitely no level playing field. But in any case, the essence of that exercise was to choose 5 out of the 10
and you made it.
Who had been registered to contest, and were one of the 5.
But did your camp file formal complaint with the party regarding some of the issues that you raised?
No, you see, matters of this is a very internal party matter, and I am of the opinion that whatever the provocation, it shouldn't be discussed in the open. We did a lot about it, complained to the hierarchy and all kinds of things, but not to the general public.
The disciplinary committee of the party, in your view, have they done well in terms of dealing with the many issues that came up?
I don't think so, because this incident, which became public on all throughout the media and the whole country about the brutalization of this agent in Nararogo, the disciplinary committee claimed that they were doing something about it. As we speak, nothing has come out of that.
Very
committee.
interesting, and it's been days, weeks, and
weeks.
almost running into the next major election, and yet we don't even know the outcome of the investigations that they conducted into some of these things.
Precisely. So, you know, we are hoping that the experiences that we gain from the 26th, we've been talking to the Presidential Elections Committee, headed by a very reputable personality in this country, Professor Okwe. They are doing everything they can to ensure that these incidences are not repeated. But, you know, they are in charge of the paper, the rules and the regulations. The implementation lies outside their remit. It's to do with the Ghana Police and the Electoral Commission. So we are talking to them together, the committee, the contestants, the Ghana Police Service, Electoral Commission. We are talking to each other to see how we improve the implementation of the rules come 4th November.
But would you want the outcome of the investigation out before November 4 especially?
Well, I don't think that the outcome of the investigation coming out will have much to do with what actually happens on the 4th. I think that if there's that collaboration, admission on by all parties that things did not go right, and we are determined that this time round we'll make sure that things go right and that the field is level for all the 4 participants, then we wouldn't have any problem.
Okay.
And I see that as far as all the stakeholders are concerned, there is some determination to ensure a level playing field. So let's hope that we are for the best.
Final question on this matter, then we'll move to your campaign ahead of the November 4. And to find out, I mean, after the superdelegates, the party came out a bit bruised. The Alanche factor and everything.
Yes.
We have November ahead of us. What can be done to ensure that the land, issue does not come up after November 4?
Well, it's to avoid what happened. I mean, the reasons given by Mr. Chematin for quitting the contest to start with before coming out to say that he's no longer with the party, those are very solid ones, and I'm very sympathetic to those. Of course, I don't manage this information the way he has done. I still believe that with a person like Professor Okwe in charge, that things can be corrected. So I'm prepared to give the benefit of the doubt and hope that everything will be all right. See, the implication of all this is the unity of this party. If we are not seen to be having a level playing field, after 4th November, it's going to be very difficult to unite the party against the NDC. And for me, that is my worry, that to be seen demonstrably to having a playing field is one key solution to ensuring that we have unity. Because if people feel that they have not been fairly treated, how do you expect them to cooperate with the party after the contest when they feel that they haven't been treated well? So I think it's in the interest of the party to ensure that we have a level playing field. We have shown very clearly by the way we've spoken and so on. We've been very, very clear. That's myself and my team are very clear. We are selling a vision for the party and a vision for the people of Ghana. And that should preoccupy us. That is preoccupying us in selling to the delegates that we have something unique and something better for them. And that's the way it should go. I mean, it shouldn't even transcend criticism or, altercations between candidates or their followers. And in this regard, I'm very glad that our team has really conducted themselves very well. And I hope that it will be an example for the others to follow, so that after the 4th of November, we can all get together in a united manner to fight the election of next year.
Because unlike others, the feeling out there is that you've conducted yourself in a very clean manner. Right. Your campaign has been very clean, focused on your agenda to develop the country. So in the Super Delegate, in the party, right? The party, I mean, you've made it clear that you want to make the party financially independent.
Yes, that's right.
Sustainable, modeled on the ANC, system in South Africa. At the Super Delegate Congress, you got 40 votes.
I got 36 votes.
Right, 36 votes.
You are being too generous.
you got 36 votes.
Yes.
But obviously, that's just like out of almost a little over 900 voters, which is like 2 to 3% of the entire delegates of the party. Would the 36 votes is it enough to stand on this and say that the signs are looking good ahead of November 4?
No,
this time it's over 200,000 voters.
I will rephrase your question. The thing is that, first of all, how many people voted in the super delegates? 958.
Yes.
And how many people are likely to vote in the election of 4th November?
Over 200,000.
210, 220,000. So statistically, there's no relationship. In any case, the essence of the super delegate was to choose 5, as our constitution says. It's not to say that this one was first or second. So our strategy was to make sure that we are in the 5, and we are in the 5. So we have accomplished the objective, and this coming 4th is a totally different ballgame altogether, because we are talking about 20 times
the number.
Yes.
So how do you respond to those who say that this clearly is a reflection of what is to come?
Oh, well, I think it's a misjudgment. They don't have their eye on the ball. If out of 220,000, you choose 900 and something to go and choose 5 people, and based on that you say, oh, this person is going to be first, second, and third, you could have it totally wrong.
But why do you think that it can change?
Because the delegates down there are totally different from their leadership. Their leadership have disappointed them. And going around.
Why do you say so?
Yeah, because I talked to the polling station executive, I talked to the electoral area coordinators, I talked to party constituency executives. And the party constituency executives, in terms of the numbers that they are controlling the constituency, I'm talking about thousands and thousands multiples. And they are supposed to be, in actual fact, they are supposed to be representing those on the ground. And those on the ground, what they want is not what happened in terms of the categories, even in terms of the 5 that were chosen, So I'm very confident that those down there who have suffered so much for this party will take the right decision. And that right decision is to choose also Afriya Koto as their flag bearer.
Isn't the case that sometimes they speak to aspirants, they speak to them in the language that they would understand, but they may not be sincere after all?
Yes, that is late also Afriya's mantra, fear the delegates. Yes, and that's true. But the thing is that for me, talking to out of the 958 who voted, at least I can say that I spoke directly to more than half of them, to convince, to sell my vision for the party and for the country. And I was very sure that at the end of it, they bought into my vision. At the end of the day, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So Afriya was right, that you fear delegates. But in the case of the 220,000 delegates, I don't think I've interacted with even 10% of them. Except that you rely on the structures that you build to get your message to them. And of course, we are talking about 190,000 of them being polling station executives. We have nearly 40,000 polling stations. So we are looking at 4, 5 at each polling station. there's no way you can reach even 1/10 of them. So then the structures that you have are supposed to deliver the message. And in delivering the message, we are sure we'll be monitoring the message that we've given to their bosses to give to them. And most of the time, having verified the information, they are delivering the message. And I think the message is very catchy and very convincing, that we want to bring fundamental reforms into the MPP. Most activists, and I'm talking about officials, elected officials for the polling station, are very unhappy with what's going on in this party.
Right.
There are very few people that you interview or you interact who will say that they are very happy with what is happening in the MPP. We are not in a good place, and I'm the first to admit. And I know it because I've been a member of parliament for 8 years in opposition in Kwadaso. So my communication with people on the ground who are working for this party is very solid. And I believe what they are telling me is the truth, which is that they are very unhappy with what is going on.
They're unhappy because of what?
All kinds of things.
Don't
the
have
way
jobs,
the management...
Or they are just not happy with the level of governance that...
No, with their situation, and also the way the party is managed. We have rules and regulations which say that if you are a party official, you don't define or come out to say that you are supporting this person or that person. And look at what is happening. The whole government, the whole parliament, the whole party, most of the party, people, managers and so on, have come out openly to say that they support one person. And it goes against the rules. So that alone should tell you that there's something wrong with our party.
And yet nobody is taking action.
Exactly. You know, we have a discipline committee, we have an executive and the council and all those things. Nobody says boo. And any institution which doesn't have that level of discipline and so on, then you are on your way out. And for me, I'm very unhappy with the situation of the condition of the party at the moment. And I'm very keen to get the opportunity to straighten things for this party.
Does it make you feel that probably this is a wasteful exercise and won't get anywhere because there appears to be, you know, that this has been decided that at all costs, someone
decided by
must be the flag bearer?
Yes, it should be decided by them, according to our constitution. The decision as to who bears the flag of the MPP lies with the polling stations, because they are at least 90% of those taking the decision.
And has that been taken away from them, maybe through monetary influence or intimidation?
Well, I mean, we are yet to see, but I'm saying that they have the opportunity. They are the decision makers. If they are influenced by whatever, I mean, people have died for this party. A lot of people have died for this party. So if you are going to follow inducements, whether monetary or threats or whatever, not to be able to speak your mind on the issue of the best person to lead this party, then you are letting the party down. You know, so I'm very confident that talking to the delegates before and after the super delegates down there, I'm very confident that they will do the right thing.
I've heard Mr. Mahama over the weekend. He was in, I think he's still in Canada, and he spoke about the need to take a serious look at agriculture because he thinks that it is the only way out of our present condition. Kennedy Japan has said same, others have said same, and you have the master key in terms of delivering on this particular sector. How does that make you feel?
But Mr. Mahama, I mean, I find it laughable. I was in Parliament for 8 years when he was in charge of Ghana. And you asked me, what did he do with agriculture? He took agriculture down to the gutters, where at the end of his term, the growth in agriculture was only 2.1%. And all the indicators were going down. We had to come and introduce planting for food and jobs to pick things up, to build these new institutions like the Tree Crop Authority and all of that to sustain the growth that we have in agriculture. So he's the last person to talk about agriculture. His commitment to agriculture in his 8 years were sorrowful, I would say. So, I mean, my vision for this country, and I've said it for the last, since this contest started, is to use agriculture as a means of getting out of the clutches people, not only the IMF, all the people who we owe money, because we've been borrowing money to develop this country. And for 17 times, we've failed to pay the debt. And therefore, we've had to run to the IMF. The latest one is still playing out as we speak. And so long as we continue to rely on debt, we will run to the IMF average of every 4 years. I'm saying agriculture can get us out of this very sad situation by producing enough to export to earn us money, to develop our social sectors like education, like health, like the infrastructure, and even to finance our industrialization. So long as we don't have that, we are going to rely on debt, and the economy will go down every 4 years, that like it's done the 17 times.
Have you set the foundation, because you were there for 6 years?
Yes.
The foundation
that's what I'm saying. One, the interaction that we've had with the farmers to increase their productivity in terms of yields and so on is very clear. Two, building institutions to sustain this. We have the Tree Crop Development Authority, which is an act of parliament. I left another authority in parliament, I don't know what has happened to it now, which is a Grain Development Authority to manage grains the same way Cocoa Board is managing cocoa. And then we had on my desk 2 more, Agricultural Development Authority and the Poultry Development Authority. If all these institutions are built, are created by law of parliament, and are given the freedom to operate by and managed by people who know how these things work, this country wouldn't be where we are. We'll be far away. We will have a lot of welfare and we'll be developing.
Okay. We cannot obviously, we can't talk about agriculture without bringing in one of the key pillars in terms of our export, cocoa. And I know that you follow the news on a regular basis. The finance minister last week, in an interview, said that they've set up a desk together with Bank of Ghana to supervise the finances of Cocoa Board, and he used a word to ensure discipline. And he relates it to the fertilizer and the cocoa rows issue, that cocoa boards need to be back on a sound footing. This is where you are. How does it come to you?
Well, I didn't want to make a comment on what he said, but I don't understand. The Minister of Finance, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Minister for Trade and Industry, and the governor are on the board.
Of course.
It's only the governor himself who goes to the board directly. All these 3 portfolios, deputy ministers are there reporting to them. So what is new? He's there on the board. So what is new? Setting up a desk? I mean, the kind of things that he's talking about, discipline and so on, you'll be amazed at the amount of time I spent trying to straighten Cocoa Board and all of that. You know, in terms of their expenditures and all of that, which has gone totally out of hand, you know, and to the detriment of the farmer, because if Cocoa Board is not spending money wisely and is going on about, oh, we are supplying subsidized inputs to the farmers and so on, and they are not getting value for money, then ultimately you cannot pay the farmers more than what you can pay. So ultimately, the farmers will have to pay for these inefficiencies and so on. And it really distracts from the financial benefits of growing cocoa. And as I said, this uni-crop approach, which we've practiced for 130 years, I've brought in new institutions to break it. There are 6 other tree crops, some of which have even much higher value than cocoa, have to be developed so that we can get more foreign exchange. Cote d'Ivoire, and I keep saying, 5 crops in Cote d'Ivoire, including cocoa, give them $7-8 billion. These same 5 crops in Ghana today is giving us only less than $2 billion. Okay. And it shows you the kind of potential that we have between $1.5 billion and $8 billion.
And we are not exploiting it.
Yeah, yes, and this is what I'm saying. The initiative has been taken by me, and I hope that it will carry forward.
All right. Let's come back again to the issue of the delegate, because that is the most important subject as of now, and we have few days to go. Your backyard is the Ashanti region. What do you expect from them? The chairman of the region, the party chairman in the region, has taken a unique position already. So clearly there's no neutrality as far as the leadership from the region is concerned. But what do you expect from the delegates who will be coming?
The delegates down there have no respect for the conduct of the regional chairman. And his impression that he creates that he is in charge of the delegates will be proven on the 4th of November. Whether the kind of percentage that his candidate got will be repeated down there is still something that we have to wait for. But I'm confident that the message I've given to the people of Ashanti and to the rest of this country, the delegates know that this is the man. And let's look at a track record.
Right.
I mean, my 6 years in charge of the sector, working with farmers appreciate what I did for them, because they are the only ones who know the benefits they got from my management of the sector. And it's reflected in their performance that 2021 growth in the agricultural sector was 8.4%. Go through the records from 1992 in this Fourth Republic. You will never see anything near 8.4%.
Hello there, how are you this morning? Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. And today I'm very excited to bring you the latest winners of the National Science and Maths Quiz here in the studio with me. And I've been joined by the boys who represented PRESEC this year. Fantastic work you guys did. Well done, well done. Well done. Okay, so there are a lot of questions to ask, and I know that you also have a lot of questions, so you can keep them coming in the comment section. But hey, that was quite a competition. I've been joined by Stephen, Samuel, Echampon Setre, Benedict, Pate Dorte, and Selina Morte. How are you guys feeling the morning after the win?
We are good.
You good?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Hey, I said still I'm more slower. The battle was tough, eh? So you're still recuperating, aren't you? But tell me about it. I have so many questions to ask you. Okay, let me start with you, Selina. The true or false? I've been watching you throughout the competition, and I know that that's like your, what do I say? That's like your specialty, right? Because I mean, in at least the semis and the quarterfinals, I realized that you were very spot on when it came to the true or false. But yesterday, Charlie, it wasn't working. What happened?
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Stuff just went going out yesterday.
But what was it? Were you nervous? Is it that you were not sure of the answers, or what you thought your confidence was in the answers, but it just wasn't what it was?
I don't know how to explain it.
You don't know how to. Okay, so the three of you. Sometimes you guys gamble with the true or false. You don't. When you're given an answer, you are sure about it.
Yeah.
Because there was someone I was watching. He said, "Don't answer if you're not sure. Don't answer if you're not sure. Don't answer if you're not sure." But hey, you did it. Congratulations. But Pate, as at the fourth round, when we started the fifth round, you were at par with Achimota, which was quite a dangerous place to be. I mean, because then anybody could have snatched it. Even Owas, right? If Owas had answered all the three riddles, or all the four rather riddles, even at 3 points, they still would have won. How did you feel, Pate, at that point?
I still felt confident that whatever be the case, at the end of the contest, we still have victory.
Hey, you were confident.
Yeah, we put our trust in God.
What I want to know, what is the source of that confidence?
We put our trust in God, so we know that He will never fail. So.
Hey, but you see, this thing here, we need to. Anyway, don't let me go into theology and all the religious things this morning. Because I don't know if you guys could see from where you were that their Chimotans were also praying, giddy, giddy, giddy. Even at the point of the third round, we went to their school. We went to the school live. For those of you who followed, there was a whole prayer session that was organized. And these guys were praying. Beyond the knowledge that you had God, at your back, is there any other thing that gave you confidence? Samuel, you want to answer that question?
Okay, so I'll say the support that we had from those who had been helping us from the start also gave us confidence. Because the fact that you know that you are not in the fight alone is enough to motivate you to do more, even when things are not going your way.
Okay, so Samuel, you were not on stage, but you're part of the team. Was there any point you felt like, guys, we're going to lose this?
Well, surprisingly, during the throw off, when we started losing questions, I had this feeling we were going to win.
Really?
Yes.
Even when you were losing?
Yes, please.
Hey, President, you guys have to tell us your secrets, because you know that people describe you as the Real Madrid of the NSMQ. Like, you get what I mean? Do you follow football? Pate, you say you like football. You actually play football. Okay, so you get what they mean. Like, you guys are becoming very dominant in the space and all that. But another question I have is, at the point Achimota rang for the riddles, did your heart skip a beat? Did you think they were going to get it? Because if they did, then it means that they were going ahead of you because you guys were at par, right? So when you heard their bell ring, when the first two clues were read for the first question and the subsequent ones, how did you feel, Selinam? Honestly, how did you feel?
I felt like was wrong-faced, and the answer they gave was what most people would have gone for. So after Oas gave that answer and it was wrong, I just had this feeling that they're definitely not going to get it right.
Yeah, right. Okay, you got it. Which was it the conjunctivitis? Which one? Which one was that? The propanol. Oh, propanoic acid.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And then you knew it was propanoic, right, then. Okay, but there was also the question about the conjunctivitis. And they were close to winning that. Why is it your strategy? Were you told to wait till all the clues were read before you attempted an answer?
We just had to ring when it was right.
When you knew?
Yeah.
You just didn't want to gamble with it? Okay, so I saw you do this. Well, that was after you answered the last riddle, and you knew that you had sealed it, and I just saw your hands go up like that. Tell me how you felt. What was it like for you emotionally?
It's a dream come true.
It was a dream come true, and you were trending on social media. There's someone who's actually put a photo of you and your brother. I saw that on the NSMQ page. I've seen it on a couple other platforms. Was your brother around yesterday?
No, please.
Okay, he's not in the country. Okay, but has he been watching you? Has he been following you?
Yeah.
What did he tell you before he went to the finals? Because he's been there, right? Yeah. So I'm sure he gave you some coaching tips as well. What did he tell you?
Just take my time and relax. Okay. Take like any other contest. You didn't be tense or anything.
Okay. And I'm sure that helped you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you guys won a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And then there's scholarship opportunities as well. For those of you who missed my interaction with them before the finale, you said you wanted to be what in future?
An engineer.
An engineer, and you?
A surgeon.
A surgeon as well. So what next for you guys? I know you finished, you're all third-year students.
Yeah.
You finished school about a month and a half ago, but you had to stay on because of the quiz. So now you finally get to go home. What is it going to look like for you in the next few days? Tell me what you've planned. I know you like watching movies or playing video games. Which is which? Playing video games. And you like watching movies, and you like preaching and evangelizing. Yeah, right, that's good. So what is the next few days looking like? I mean, you've won it. I know that there are people who want to take you out for lunch, give you a lot of freebies. But what have you planned for yourself in the next few days?
Apart from the various interviews and meetings we'll have, have a good rest.
You know, if you didn't say that, I would have been surprised because it's been such a marathon for you guys. What about you, Patty? What are the next few days looking like for you?
I think I'll start trying to prepare for the SATs and also try to have a good rest.
Oh, goodness. I don't envy you. You've got SATs to prepare for, but at least this has helped you, right? Yes. So you didn't have a break. At least you've been studying throughout the period. So I'm sure it will help you. What about you, Samuel?
I'm planning to catch up with my friends, those we led back at home, and yeah, probably get into the things that I wasn't able to do because of the NSMQ.
Interesting. Well done, guys. You have done your school proud. I have seen all the Presec old boys around bragging a lot. You've given them something to brag about, and we look forward to seeing you. I've told you guys I'll be looking out for you. We've given ourselves 15 years to catch up. By God's grace, we'll all be alive by then. And then I'll be following up on you. Selinam wants to be a surgeon. Benedict wants to be a surgeon as well. And my friend Samuel wants to be an engineer. So we'll be following up on them and letting you know how they're faring. So we'll stay in touch, right? I just realized that for some interesting reason, I've heard your anthem so much that I can sing a portion of it. I don't have any links to Presec, please. I mean, not at all. But we've just been hearing you guys, Lexus Bill, Georgiado Jr., Raymond Aqua, what's his name? Perhaps his name escaped me. A lot of you. This sports guy. Why have I forgotten your name? You're the one who's made the most noise. Gary Al Smith. Gary, you're charming me this morning, but I've remembered your name. So they're all making a lot of noise, and they're so proud of you. And so we're going to ask you to sing your anthem again. All the time I've asked you to sing your anthem, you've been very sober. Now you've won it. So please sing it with some vim, the winners and the champions. And, let's wrap up the conversation on that note.
Charlie, are we ready?
Yeah.
Happy are we, studious are we, students of Presbyterian Secondary School. Onward we march, we charge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid book cropping us along. Illuminate, with the beam of lumen. In thy light, we shall see light. Illuminate, with the beam of lumen. For Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training, we get a sure, solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us.
Indeed, you need to come along and join the champions of the NSMQ 2023. Like I said, you guys had a lot of money. Have you planned what you're going to use your money for?
No.
You haven't, have you?
No,
No, hey guys, are you sure? You don't want us to know what you're going to use your money for. But congratulations to you once again. And like Selinam says, we hope you get the rest. Any promises coming in? People have started promising you things. Please, Presec old boys, don't just make noise on social media. Sort the guys out. Actually, I thought by now the packages will start coming in and all those kind of things. But well done, guys. We are all super proud of you. Thank you for giving us a good competition and a good round. So Presec makes it 8. They say God is faithful. God is great. Interesting times ahead. Will they hold on to the trophy next year? We've got our fingers crossed. But you need to stay here on the Joy News channel. We are the home of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Now, the 3rd edition of the Ghana Digital Innovation Week is ready to start. The Digital Transformation Center, implemented by GIZ on behalf of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, in collaboration with Mashav, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation, the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, and the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, with the support of ITC and UNCDF, will bring together the digital ecosystem stakeholders on one platform to learn, share ideas, and network. It's happening from the 6th to the 8th of November 2023 at the Accra International Conference Center at 9 a.m. every day. There will be over 5,000 attendees, 50 exhibitors, and over 40 insightful sessions to be led by ecosystem actors. GDIW 2023 will be preceded by regional events from the 1st to the 3rd of November in the northern, eastern, and Ashanti regions, respectively. Attendance is free. You can register at www.gdiw.com.gh. Now, you also need to prepare for an exhilarating experience at the Grand Fair of the 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23 to Sunday, November 26th, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Come and engage with experts who guide you through the home ownership process. The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats Rent to Own. It's sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Gold Key Properties, building prestige since 1997. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solutions. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. Saint Gobain, making the world a better place. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes. Wise Investment, and the Kensington Heights Airport City Kumasi by HDG Homes Limited. So keep all these dates in your diary and do well to join us at the Accra International Conference Center for the main fair of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. We'll take a quick breather. When I come back, I'll bring you more. Do stay.
The three schools came with one expectation: to win the trophy. As they sang their anthems, the sound of optimism echoed within the four walls of the National Theatre. First, the gentlemen from Opokuwari School, Achimota School, and the undisputed champions, Presec Legon.
Let me know whether it's true or false.
It was a comfortable lead for Presec Legon in rounds 1, 2, and 3. Things took a dramatic twist in round 4 during the true or false questions. Achimota School managed to close a 12-point gap to just 3 after the round.
Achimota School with the same preamble. B squared minus 4AC is greater than 0. Kenneth?
False.
You are right. May be formed from the dehydration of lactic acid.
Achimota School was back to losing ways and Presec back to winning weighs during round 5 riddles. At the end of the contest, Presec Legon had 40 points, Achimota School 28 points, Opokuwari School 23 points.
This is our 30th anniversary, and so I am happy to also declare you the 30th anniversary champions of the National Science and Math Quiz.
I wanna be all that here. Yeah, I wanna be all that here. Yeah, I wanna be all that here. This is the school I want tell to go. This
and line in their anthem says they are happy at studios. Happy studios are we? At this point we ask, are they studios? Yes, indeed, they've won this competition for a record 8th time, so we can confirm that yes, they are studios. Are they happy? Yes, you can see the celebration in the background right now.
I've now met Elizabeth Morty. Her son is Presec NSMQ 2023 winner Selinam Morty. She says Selinam is living a self-fulfilling prophecy. Selinam's brother, Selassie Morty, represented Presec in 2019 but missed out on the trophy by just 5 points to Ogasco. She said his brother, Selinam, who was then in junior high school, prophesied that he will attend Presec and lift the trophy.
He's a type that likes learning from childhood. Even in his basic school, he's always first. Always first. So I know you do it. And the brother too contested in 2019.
Oh, wait.
Selassie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was on stage in 2019?
Yeah.
Wow.
He doesn't do anything in the house except learning. He likes learning very well.
Wow. As a mother, what did you also do to support him? I'm sure you bought him a lot of science textbooks and all of that.
He takes his brother's own, Selassie's own.
Okay.
He copies from Selassie.
So while the contest was going on, what was running through your...
I was first afraid.
You were what?
I was scared. It came to a time I was scared. During the riddles, I was scared.
When Achimota School was getting closer.
I was scared, but so I was praying. I knew that God would do it. I told God that He's been first since childhood. So now that He's coming here, He shouldn't be second.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think God answered your prayer.
Of course.
Where do you see Him in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years?
He said he wanted to go to the Stanford University.
Okay.
So that's it. I'll be going for graduation there.
Really exciting scenes from the National Theatre. It was a grand finale, if you ask me, in every sense of it. And I'm super excited this morning to be joined by, you know what we call her, the champion herself, the quiz mistress, Professor Elsie Kaufman. And she's also the Dean of the School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana. And I've also been joined by Nanekia Mensah-Bonsu, MD Primetime Limited. They are the producers of the NSMQ. Good morning to you, Prof. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining me. There are a lot of talking points from the quiz and yesterday's event, but it's been 30 years, 30 solid years of doing this. What has kept you going?
A lot of things. Sometimes when we've had difficulties, it's been what I call angels.
Right.
People stepping in, help coming from places that we didn't expect, and sponsors coming in to help us. But what drives it every year is the passion for it to come on, a feeling that this is, it's a legacy to protect, and just tenacity of purpose, determination that it must come on, whatever the cost, whatever the challenges, and there've been many. The program was started by my father, Dr. Kweku Mensah-Bonsu, and I have been running it since 2013 But we have our own stories.
Yeah,
yes, each of us has own stories about challenges.
We should put together a feature, the 30 years of the NSMQ. It will be interesting to chronicle the events, the up and downs, the different names it's even been called over the years, because I grew up hearing it as Brela, and then we moved on, but it's been such a wonderful addition to our educational ecosystem, and it's something that everybody looks forward to. At least yesterday we learned something about acrylic nails.
And those are my favorite parts of the program, where we teach everybody things about what we use every day in our everyday lives, everyday science. With all these acrylic nails, one of the things that I remember from yesterday, and which I liked really, was this question about when you use steel, when you heat steel, and you see colors on it. You see that when you use maybe like a dining forks or something to stir something hot. Yes, and you see when the vapor goes on it, then you see the colors, and then you know that it's going to turn black because you're exposing it to heat. I thought it was a very interesting thing to learn. And I remember the one about the palm oil, why it's red and
the
so,
meat.
Yes, and the meat. I thought it was really interesting too, because it's true. When you go to a supermarket and the meat doesn't look red enough, you won't buy it. I thought it was really interesting.
And I like Prof's response to that. She said, "Hey, we hear a lot of stories. I can't take that." Prof, but this has been an exciting journey. I mean, having the contestants, speaking to them. But there's just one thing I realized, especially with how you conduct the quizzes, is how you like to let them relax and, just take it easy. And even for the audience, how you bring us in. Tell me why you do all that.
It's something that's supposed to engage all of us. I feel it's rather boring if you come to a contest and you just come and listen to these young people answering their questions. There's no relation to your life. I even find it surprising people come and sing so much. They don't learn anything. And so my interest is to make sure that we are all learning the science. We need to raise the level of science understanding in this country, because you see that everything is very applicable to what we do. And we are trying to raise problem solvers of the future. We need to participate in it. And it's not easy for these young people to come sit up there on the stage answering all these wonderful questions and doing so well. They get very stressed, and so I find ways of slowing things down a little, give them a breather in the middle of the contest. I need to do those things.
That's important. Thank you so much for doing that and making the quiz interesting for all of us viewing at home. And like I said, for me, it's a family event. I mean, everybody, even the kids, the babies, when they don't understand, but when we are jubilating, they're also excited. So, I mean, it's a fun time for everybody. But there was something yesterday when one of the, I think, was it a riddle? The Owas on the acrylic nails, right? He was so close, but wrong.
Yes.
Explain those moments to us. Even about the 10%, was it the 10?
Yes, 10%.
10% rule, and you said you were looking. So, yes, so this is science, and many of us may not understand. So tell us how they are so close, but yet wrong.
Yes. It's science. It's exact. If you remember the beginning, I told them to give their answers unambiguously. It's not, I don't always tell them this, but sometimes I do. At the beginning of a contest, I go to every table, I interact with all the students. It's one of the things I tell them. If there are different ways of saying the answer, make sure there is no option for me to interpret your answer. That means you must be really exact. So now in this particular, the propanoic acid, right? So I'm sure you've heard about propane.
And yes.
And propene.
Yes.
Yes, these are derivatives, right? And so you can't substitute one for the other. There's a functional group, there's a double bond somewhere, which will make it in, as opposed to a single bond, which makes it in, right? We need to be exact in our answers. If your answer is not exact, I'm sorry, I can't give you the mark. And we spend a lot of time. I mean, I'm not sure most people know what the consultants go through. They said, the subject consultants said their questions. We meet together, we moderate the questions, we read every single question, and then we decide what the answer is going to, as a team.
Okay.
Then we decide what the answer is going to be. Then it comes to me, and I have to be convinced that these are the answers. So I also do my own personal checks.
Right.
Sometimes the questions go back and forth. By the time we sit on stage, we have decided what the answer is supposed to be.
Right.
And so it's not at the last minute that we're no difference. No, it's everything matters.
Yeah.
Everything
What
matters.
about the 10% rule and the 10% rule of the food chain?
Yes.
So my question was, and I was watching with a sister who is a medical student. So I said, okay, is it possible that a 10% rule exists somewhere else in
Yes, there are many 10% rules.
Okay, then that makes sense. to a lay person like me, I'm like, okay, then that makes sense.
There are many 10% rules, and if you came to see my sheet, what we had decided as a consultant team, the answer was going to be, it was 10% rule in food chain.
Right.
Underlined, bold. I was not going to ignore that.
Right, right. Thank you for the clarification. I hope those of you like me, I hope your hands are at ease now. Let me come to you. And I needed to ask that because there's a lot of conversation, especially on social media, coming up on this one. So we've seen the quiz grow to this point, and yet again, we have to talk about the girls because it's something that I don't know what word to use. It's something that we look forward to every year. And this year we saw strong teams like Wesley Girls who came for the first time all the way from the regionals, came to the top. We saw St. Louis, strong girls team. Yeah. And my school didn't feature, and Fantoman Girls, but I was supporting the girls because I'm like, yeah, let's do it for once. At least it's the 30th anniversary, right? It would have been nice to say the 30th anniversary in the girls. Yes. But again, we're seeing that there's a problem. And I also juxtapose that with the fact that all the quiz mistresses, we have only quiz mistresses. I've not seen, the last time I saw a quiz master, but this year I didn't see one. So then it tells you that there are women who are excelling in science. But when it comes to the point of competition, using the NSMQ as my point of reference, there appears to be a problem. What is it? What is it? What is it? I'm not sure what it is, but maybe you've been doing this for years. You can tell me what it is.
I can safely tell you that a lot of the time, the girls don't have the same kind of exposure that the boys do. Okay. They, first of all, don't select their teams early. I know for a fact that Wesley Girls was waiting till mock to select the team. And I think that it cut across the girls' teams that the selection is late. In the boys' schools, they are so competitive. They start from Form 1, latest Form 2, everybody knows who's going and they concentrate on training them. And the girls leave it till too late. And then you realize that there are fewer female science teachers than males. And so you really can't expect that the parents would be happy to find their teenage daughters learning late at night with a male teacher. So they already have limited contact hours. So if you add late selection and preparation, then you realize that even when the team is really strong, they are very limited. These two teams were selected when they were in Form 2. So I think that for Wesley Girls, it's probably trying something different to see how that will work. And they went all the way to the semi-finals. So I think that we should just give them a little time to settle properly. Now that they've seen that this works, I'm sure that they will do more of it. So let's just give it a
strategy. Yeah, I'll come back to you shortly to find out what the future of the NSMQ is. Just painting it, because now we've seen it on social media, we've seen it live broadcast and all that. But Prof, you have been phenomenal over the years, and many people. And this is beyond the quiz, but I think it's also probably scientific. They want to know how you look so young all the time, how you keep up, how you're able to do this. All the stresses involved in your personal job and even running the quiz. Please, do you have any scientific tips for us?
Oh, I'm blessed.
I like that.
I am incredibly blessed.
Right.
Okay, I would say yes, of course, the blessing of God, very, very important. And then, what else? Excellent genes.
Okay.
Excellent genes.
Which is scientific.
Yes.
Anything to do with exercise and dieting?
I'm not dieting. I am not doing any special exercising, but I do keep active. I mean, I walk around a lot. I don't have any big vices I can talk about, like lifestyle vices or anything of the sort.
Okay.
I'm a disciplined person.
Right.
And yes, and I have a clear conscience. At the end of the day, I sleep very soundly. Yes, it's very, very important.
Okay,
yes.
so now you know. Those of you are looking for any clues, any, Prof has given. So, what is the future of the NSNQ for all of us who love to watch it, even our mothers who don't understand? They still love the competition. They love the energy around it.
Right.
So, what should we look forward to?
So, this year we had for the first time the private schools coming in as a block. And we are expecting that as time goes on, more of them will join in.
Wow.
In 2007, we had the West Africa version, and St. Augustine's won that. So every year, they want everyone to know that they are not just
local
champions, they have West Africa champions too.
Yeah.
We want to bring that back, and we are looking for help in that side. So yesterday, when I was giving my welcome speech, I asked that for government support, institutional support, to connect us to the powers that be in other African countries, because this would be a wonderful export. Can you imagine being able to take the NSMQ onto the continental level and everybody doing the NSMQ? It's a Ghanaian product,
yeah.
And you taking it out
Right.
there. I think that it would be really wonderful, and so that's what we are asking for. Help on that side to connect us to those who matter in those places to make that happen, and we are ready to push and make that happen.
So they can contact the Primetime office where you located if somebody is interested, a company wants to get involved?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely. And if you go onto any of our
social.
social media sites and leave a message, we'll find it.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for putting science and maths at the fore of national conversations. And it's important that we maintain it because, like Prof has taught us, science is everyday life. Making it simple, making it easy for us to understand. Not like what many of us are running from confession away in high school and junior high school, simplifying science and maths. And that's why we are super excited to bring you the National Science and Maths Quiz every year. Thank you so much, Naneka Mensah-Ponsu. She is MD Primetime Limited, and you heard from the champion herself, Professor Elsie Ifa-Kaufman. She's a quiz mistress of the NSMQ and the Dean of the School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana.
Can I say thank you?
Oh, of course. Please go ahead. Yes, we've got a minute. You can do it.
Yes. So I would like to say a really big thank you to the Ghana Education Service and to the Ministry of Education for the immense support. They are our main sponsors. So we would like to say a really big thank you to them for all the support that they give us. To Goel, partner sponsor, I want to say a really big thank you to them as well. To the supporting sponsors, Prudential Life Insurance, Academic City University College, Accra College of Medicine, Pepsodent, Bell Beverages, Cowbell, and then we also have Coronation Insurance, Newmont Africa, Garnet, Africa World, GTP, YFM, and then 80, that's Etel Tigo. And I'd like to say a really big thank you to Multimedia, led by Joy News.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful. Your support to us is wonderful. You go with us to the regions. You are with us from the beginning to the end. And we couldn't do this without you. We really appreciate everything that you do.
We love to be a part of it. And thank you so much for joining me. And I love how you were deliberate, especially about getting old students to fly the finalists back. That was a good one.
I thought that was really interesting for me. I call it the battle of the pilots.
Well, this has been a Primetime production. Thank you, Primetime Limited, for doing this. And your favorite TV game show in Ghana, Step Up, is back with another amazing season. This time, you're stepping up with Syntex Tank. Step Up with Syntex Tank will see contestants answer trivia questions to win cash prizes between 400 to 6,000 cedis weekly, and other products from our sponsors. This season, your viewing at home will not just be for the fun of it, but you can watch out for the Syntax Tank question of the week. Be the first to answer correctly via WhatsApp or SMS on these numbers 050-833-8888 to win incredible prizes from sponsors. The person who answers most of the weekly questions fastest gets a 65-inch Samsung television at the end of the season. Step up with Syntax Tank, a unique television experience. Step up with Syntax Tank is sponsored by Bell Eyes, MTN Momo, and Angel Cola. Well, that is it for our show today. I am grateful that you made time to join us. God willing, tomorrow Benjamin and I are back with another exciting edition of the AM show that puts you at the heart of everything we discuss. Please stay with us on your most credible news source. Up next is News Desk with Aisha Ibrahim. Take care.